is that no, their roster is not good enough. No, their roster is not equipped at the level necessary in order to be the team that you need to be. Joel Embiid is going to be out for a minimum month. He's being evaluated in 4 weeks. Even if he's evaluated in 4 weeks, it doesn't mean he's coming back the very next day. Think about it. 4 weeks from today is March 5th. What is the Sixers' schedule at that point in time? They will not have been far removed from the All-Star break. And as I documented last night on game night, I'll document again here. Their schedule does not get easy at any particular point in the next 4 weeks. By the time we get to March 5th, by the way, the Sixers' next game after March 5th is against the Grizzlies. But you just lost the game last night. Tomorrow you got the Warriors. Friday you got the Hawks. Yes, the Wizards are a winnable game on Saturday. But then Monday against the Cavs, Wednesday against the Heat, not easy games. All-Star break. You come out of the break against the Knicks, the Cavs, and the Bucks. And then you got to go to Boston to play the Celtics? Am I supposed to believe that this 76ers team that I saw last night and on Saturday against the Nets is going to be able to stay above water until Embiid gets back? I love Tyrese Maxey as much as the next guy, but I certainly don't think so. Now, maybe some of you out there at 609-403-0973 on the text board or DMing into 973 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank Seattle. Josh Eddick filling in for Mike Gill as he flies out to Super Bowl Radio Row. Mike Gill and the Sports Patch will be back live Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday on Radio Row at Mandalay Bay Event Center in Las Vegas. But if any of you disagree with me, let me know, because I don't see a way that this Sixers team, let's see here, between now and the 4 weeks of Joel Embiid's evaluation, I'm looking at the schedule. I see 2 wins, 3 wins, maybe in the next few weeks. And again, even when Joel gets evaluated, it's no guarantee he's going to return the next day. He's got to ramp up. By the time Joel ramps up, is he going to be back in time for those 2 straight games against the Knicks on March 10th and 12th? I doubt it. After that, they get the Bucks. This schedule is daunting. And I didn't see a Sixers team last night that looked like a winning basketball team long-term without Joel Embiid. Again, I love Maxey. I'm a huge Maxey fan. But Tyrese Maxey, Tobias Harris, and the band of misfit toys are just not good enough to get you over the hump. When you reevaluate Embiid in 4 weeks, am I really supposed to believe that this team is still going to be a playoff team? Which is why what Brian Windhorst said yesterday on First Take still rings true to me 24 hours later.
What happens from this Embiid surgery could be one of the most important things in this trade deadline week. And that's because the Sixers are a team that have a lot of options. They have 3 tradable first-round picks. They have over $100 million in expiring contracts. And they have a belief that with Joel Embiid healthy, that they can compete. They would be an underdog against Boston right now, but Milwaukee is fading.
Here's the problem with that. They think they can compete is not the same as being able to compete. So now that we know that Joel Embiid is not out for the season, right? Now that we know that Joel, his season is not over, what is next for the Sixers? Well, if you want to be a postseason contender, what must you do now? You got to make a move. Daryl Morey has to have seen enough from this team in the last few days to realize that at 30-19, this team is not good enough. And with a schedule coming up where you are going to be playing multiple Eastern Conference playoff teams, potential playoff teams, the Cavs, the Heat, the Knicks, the Bucks, the Boston Celtics, this team is not equipped. Look, they can get hot one or two nights here or there and maybe outscore somebody. But without Joel Embiid, it is blatantly obvious that they will not stay above water. And frankly, in 4 weeks, if they don't make any moves, the Sixers could be at the bottom of the play-in tournament. That's where we stand here the day after the Sixers' embarrassing loss last night to the Dallas Mavericks. Over on the text board at 609-403-0973. Your DMs is the 973 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank. So hear what you guys have to say out there. Mike from the Villa says, why not trade for someone? Can't just throw the talent, can we? With that schedule, it's a 12-18 record at best. Yeah, they're already, with a losing record without Embiid, Mike and Villas. I agree with you. You should trade for someone. The problem is, will they? And I feel like we're in the same predicament with the Sixers right now as we are with the Phillies. If you are a Phillies fan, you're sitting around asking, why is Dave Dombrowski making small moves like Diego Castillo yesterday? Where's the big additions? Where's the upgrades? Dave Dombrowski of the Phillies has a history. He has a track record of rebuilding teams and making them better and making big moves. And as of February 6th at 2:15 p.m., he hasn't done that. And the same thing with Daryl Morey. Daryl Morey has a history, a track record of not being a sit on your hands, complacent general manager. So I have to believe, based on his history, he is going to do something. I agree with you, Mike, in the voice. You've got to do something. 12-18 record, I mean, that might be favorable. Danny EHC chimes on the text board and says, as much as the Eagles and Sixers organizations have lied recently to all of us about many things, I wouldn't be surprised if Joe isn't injured at all, or he is very injured on the other hand. Well, that's a silly statement, Danny EHT. You sound like a conspiracy theorist. I'm sure you believe that the NFL has it scripted for the Chiefs to play the 49ers because of Taylor Swift as well. Joel's injured, okay? I'm sorry to let you know, Dan HC, Joel is injured. A grown man landed on his knee. His knee buckled. Even at worst, if he has a knee bruise, he's injured. No one's lying about anything. Frankly, I'm not fully sure what the Eagles lied about. Are the Eagles maybe not always telling the full truth and the whole truth? So help me God, I do. Sure, but they're not lying to anybody. I don't think the Sixers are lying about Embiid at all. I think that when he sat out of that Denver Nuggets game a couple Saturdays ago, there was a legitimate issue and concern. Then, when he went in and played the game on Tuesday, I think Joel genuinely believed that he was well enough to play. Now, should the Sixers organization have pulled him from that game that never played him in the first place? Absolutely. We wouldn't be in this predicament. But I can't jump in my DeLorean time machine, go back in the past, and change anything. Look, Morey is going to make a move. I genuinely believe that. Now, what that move is, not 100% sure. Couple more texts to get here. 609-403-0973. Your DMs into 973 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank. See how Josh Hennick hanging out with you, filling for Mike Gill here on the Sports Bash on 97.3 ESPN. Tom from the Villa says, even if Joel comes back in 4 to 5 weeks, there's no guarantee that Joel will play at the level he was before he got hurt. By the time he does get back in the game shape, it might be too late. Tom from the Villas. Tom, that's the exact reason why I'm saying you got to make a move. Just because Joel is coming back this year doesn't mean that your team as currently constructed is good enough to actually stay above water. And you're right. We have no idea what condition Joel is going to be when he gets back. He didn't look good in the game against the Warriors when he, according to Nick Nurse, told him, I feel good. I'm good to go. Well, obviously he wasn't. Obviously. Think about it. If the Sixers coaches and medical staff looked at Joel Embiid the same way me, all of you listening on 97.3 ESPN FM and on the 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Seattle, if everyone looked at Joel the same way as we did, people watching on television, he would have never played the second half of that game. And if Joel said in that game, the Sixers said in that game, he was good to go, then Tom and the Villas is right. There is no guarantee that Joel is going to be Joel when he returns. There is tons of medical literature and sports injury history that proves that guys who have knee injuries need time. And if you're rushing Joel back for the postseason, he might not get enough time. He was already playing tentative and unaggressive in the Warriors game. Now he's returning from a procedure on his knee. They cut his knee open. And depending on if you want to believe the Athletic Report or the Whoosh Report, the reality is Joel had surgery. He's going to need time to recover. And then he's going to need time to rebuild up his cardio. And by then you're hoping you're at the playoffs. All right, we got a ton more text to get to. Keep them coming in. 609-403-0973. Josh Hennig filling in for Mike Gill here on the Sports Bench. Don't forget, coming up at 3:30 today, Keith Pompey from the Philadelphia Inquirer will join us. Coming up on the other side, we got to talk to John McMullen because I want to get an update from him. We didn't get to talk to John yesterday here on the Sports Bash. We want to get in touch with John about what is going on with the Eagles and they're filling out their coaching staff. It has been a slow and tedious process for many Eagle fans, and John McMullen will give us the answers we're looking for coming up next. And then also this hour, more of your texts. I see them all coming in. Keep them coming. 609-403-0973 and your DMs into 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Seattle City.
It's the Sports Bash with Mike Gill.
And I am the voice of the voiceless.
On 97.3 ESPN and the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app.
Do you love a good cigar almost as much as your family? Well, maybe that's an exaggeration, but you can find that perfect cigar at Smokers Haven. With 5 New Jersey locations, Smokers Haven has the finest selection of cigars in the area, like Ashton, My Father's, Romeo and Julieta, Monte Cristo, and more. All from the finest tobacco leaves and hand-rolled by the world's finest cigar makers. All locations are fully open. Stop in and let them help you find the perfect cigar to pair with your life. See all they have and their locations at smokershavennj.com.
Getting your biggest tax refund from Jackson Hewitt can lead to some spirited reactions.
Jackson
Hugh, yeah!
Jackson Hewitt is so sure that you'll get your biggest refund that if they don't, you get your money back plus $100.
Jackson, Hugh, yeah!
And Jackson Hewitt also guarantees the accuracy of your return for life.
Hugh, yeah!
But don't just sit there. For your biggest refund guaranteed, walk into a Jackson Hewitt today and dance out Jackson Hewitt, yeah!
Football's biggest game day is finally here. Total Wine and More is ready with spirits and beer. With thousands of options, our selection can't be beat, and our prices are the lowest no store can compete. Only at Total Wine and More.
Drink responsibly, B21.
It's a new year. It's a new day. Save all month long at Matt Blatt Mitsubishi every day. So if you're currently stuck in a loan or lease, Matt Blatt Mitsubishi wants to get you released so you can celebrate this new year and get you into a brand new Mitsubishi Outlander or Eclipse Cross SUV, both with 0 down and 0% APR financing for 60 months. Clearing $450 per week at Matt Blatt Mitsubishi, you're virtually approved. And only Matt Blatt Mitsubishi has a 4-day love it or leave it return policy. So if you're worried that your credit will keep you from getting a new ride, Matt Blatt Mitsubishi wants to finance your future, not your past. Simply Matt Blatt Mitsubishi. Rate qualifications exist. Not all will qualify. 1666 per thousand finance unapproved with tier 1 credit. Rebates and incentives to dealer. Go to mattblattmitsubishi.com. 8449462315 for complete details. Plus tax, license, registration fees. Offers can't be combined. So come in today and get your deal your way. Located right in the heart of Glassboro for over 30 years.
Sneezing, coughing, stuffy nose, runny nose, post-nasal drip, interrupted sleeping. I was groggy at the end of the day.
Allergies and sinus congestion were making Jana miserable. Then, a friend recommended Navage. Navage provides immediate drug-free congestion relief, flushing your nasal passages with refreshing saline and sucking out mucus, germs, and other airborne irritants. Navage helps you breathe easier, sleep better, and feel your best right away.
Navage gave me instant relief. I didn't have to wait 30 minutes. I didn't have to wait an hour, 90 minutes. I didn't have to wait a minute. I ran the rinse and I felt better.
Stop suffering from congestion and start breathing and feeling your best again with Navage. Navage.
I've had people ask me how I find relief, and I tell them Navage immediately. This thing is amazing.
Navage is available at Navage.com or at Walmart, Walgreens, CVS, and Rite Aid.
Wireless headphones. That'll be $200.
I'll use my Capital One Quicksilver card.
Now that's a hit. You use the Capital One Quicksilver card, which makes you the hero of every purchase. With Quicksilver, you earn unlimited 1.5% cash back on every purchase everywhere.
I wanted running music, but unlimited 1.5% cash back is pretty heroic.
Good instincts. Every hero needs a theme song. The Capital One Quicksilver card. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com for details.
Ever wonder what's around the next corner? Past the trees. Into the canyons. Over the mountains. Or through the desert. That's where adventure lives. Take a Nissan SUV and go find it.
Something good to know from First Bank of Sea Isle City. We have all of today's innovative banking products just like the big banks, but we offer something they can't. A personal community focus. Let's get you started with Bill Pay. You save time when you pay your bills online. It's fast, easy, and convenient. First Bank of Sea Isle City, a community bank that delivers more for you every day. Personal service, today's technology, from the people who truly care. Learn more at firstbankseaisle.com.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
You're listening to The Sports Bash with Mike Gill on 97. And the
Josh Kelly for Mike Gill here on a Tuesday edition of the Sports Patch as Mike Gill travels out to Las Vegas, Nevada for Super Bowl Radio Row. I got you covered here for the afternoon. We'll get back to the Sixers conversation in just a bit. Texts are still coming in at 609-403-0970. Right now, John McMullen, Birds 365, Eagles Insider, joins us. We didn't get a chance to talk to John yesterday, and I wanted to get in touch with him today because it's been, John, a very slow, meticulous situation as the Eagles slowly but surely recalibrate this coaching staff. I think a lot of Eagle fans, it's taking so much time that some of them are losing track of what's actually going on. John, how you doing today?
I'm doing well. How are you, Joe?
I'm doing pretty good. So let's kind of give an idea of what has been going on, who is actually being hired and not for this Eagles coaching staff. First, on the defense side, explain who these guys are that Vic Fangio is hiring, because I think a lot of people like they see the coach on Twitter and they think this guy should be a big job. They don't actually know who he is. So, like, explain to everyone out there.
They're all great. They're all great.
Okay, well,
like successful surgery sports. They're all great, except when they get fired.
Right, exactly. All these think they're bums, they're idiots, right? So, like, explain, for example, like, Christian Parker is coming to the Eagles. Like, what does he bring to Philadelphia aside from being from New Jersey? I don't care that he's from New Jersey personally, and I know a lot of our fans out there do, but like when Fangio brings in a guy like Parker, what is that saying to you?
Well, he knows him. It's normally, he hired him. He was first positional job, coming off of quality control in Green Bay. So he's very young, 32 years old. He has history. Got a couple defensive coordinator interviews, which is pretty impressive for a 32-year-old. So regarded it as an up-and-coming coach that Vic has a history with. And that's generally how it works. And guys hire who they're comfortable with. And you always can't get. That's another thing that, I think people don't understand is this time of year when you have turnover, especially a lot of coaches are in limbo. Same thing happened here in Philadelphia. And the Eagles didn't even fire their coach, but they made it known that they were going to bring in new coordinators. And when new coordinators come in, they generally want to bring in their own position coaches, but you kind of hold on to the guys who are under contract at least until you get the new coordinators in the building and see what they want to do and if they want to go in a different direction. Use those guys to look for other jobs. Same things happen in other cities. Perfect example would be, Miami, where Vic came from, and they're moving on to Anthony Weaver's former Baltimore assistant. Everybody's in vogue with that Ravens defense now, and they're making some changes. And Joe Barry, who Vic Fangio interviewed to be the new linebackers coach, he's going to Miami. So it's going on all over the country. So. I wouldn't be too upset if I'm Eagles fans. That's just the way it works.
Is it maybe a blessing in disguise that you don't bring in a guy like Joe Barry? Like, I'm not saying Joe Barry would have been bad, but like, do you want too many guys who are former coordinators on a staff like this? I mean, you already have a very veteran D coordinator in Fangio. It's not like he's got a shortage of, he's probably forgotten more football than half the football fans actually know of football.
Yeah, no, I don't think sometimes you want a security blanket. A lot of people argue that's what the Eagles did last year and it blew up in their face with Matt Patricia because they didn't have a coordinator with a lot of experience. So in this instance, it's, you're not worried about having to replace Vic Fangio outside of something weird that has nothing to do with football. But, I call it the pendulum theory. Most people use it in politics. When you go one way, then the pendulum swings back the other way when everybody gets upset. The NFL does it with coaches. So Eagles had a lot of younger coaches in high-profile positions, and now they're swinging back to more experienced guys. With Vic and Kellen Moore, even though he's a young man, he said this will be his 6th year calling plays in the NFL. So he's got pretty significant experience from that perspective. So you kind of swing back and forth, and they've gone from a guy with no experience, Brian Johnson, guy with 1 year experience, to these guys who've been around for a while. That's sort of how it works. Doesn't necessarily mean one is better than the other. When the Eagles hired Jonathan Gannon, he had no experience as a coordinator. It worked out. When they hired Shane Steichen, he had very little experience. It worked out. So both ways can work, but when it doesn't, you always shift back to the other direction. It's just human nature.
John, you mentioned shifting back. Talk to us about, now that Kellen Moore, you mentioned about the offensive defense. Well, Kellen Moore is an experienced play caller. I'm intrigued by them bringing in Doug Nussmeier. This is a guy who had a short stint as a quarterback in the NFL, and he was on the Cowboys staff with Kellen Moore. So what does the hiring of a guy like Nussmeier say to you?
Yeah, and that's, kind of what I was talking about in Vic with version. In Doug's case, he's been with Kellen Moore, as you mentioned, dating back to Dallas, and he also was with him with the Chargers last year. He was his quarterback's coach. So we all kind of speculated, well, Doug's going to be the new quarterback coach, and it took a while because the Chargers were going through their own coaching upheaval, and he was under contract, and they had to wait. And then when Jim Harbaugh got the job, he was like, no, I'm going to go a different direction. And then Doug was open to leaving and moving to Philadelphia. So that's sort of some of the hurdles you have to wait for to get over. But yeah, those guys have been together for 7 years, the last 5 as offensive coordinator, quarterbacks coach. So they're very comfortable with each other. And that was one of the more easier predictions. As long as he was going to be able to get out of his Chargers contract, that Doug would be the quarterback coach. And that's, let's face it, that's arguably the most important positional hiring they're going to make, because he's going to be the one working with Jalen Hurts on a day-to-day basis most often, more than anybody else. And he's got to get him back going in the right direction. So Doug Nussmeier is going to be a really, really important part of this season.
But we should also note that when Nussmeier was at Michigan State, he spent some time around that guy named Kirk Cousins. So
yeah, well, he's been around tons. He coached Michigan State, Michigan, Alabama, Florida in college. He's been around Dak Prescott, Justin Herbert just recently. He's been around a lot of good quarterbacks. But
to me, John, that's encouraging.
Quarterback, as you mentioned, back in Idaho, he was. And Kellen Moore, by the way, I think his record in college was like 50-4,
50-3
at the time. That's the all-time record for wins at the college level.
Yeah, but to me, John, that's encouraging. Nothing against Brian Johnson, but for Nick Sirianni, I know that we can turn the fresh ideas into a T-shirt at this point with Nick's face on it. But at the end of the day, you're bringing in 2 guys in Moore and Nussmeier with a ridiculous amount of professional experience. This to me is the fulfillment. Like it wasn't just words by Nick at that press conference. They actually are bringing in people with fresh ideas, John.
Yeah, well, I'm not going to go overboard with that. I think it's just about change, more than anything else. Not to say that they're not good coaches, but I think Brian's a good coach. So from my perspective, we talk about college quarterbacks. Brian was a great college quarterback, and he had a ton of experience, mainly on the college level, but he had a ton of experience at some big time programs as well. And by the way, when I was noting, Doug Nussmeier and how important he's going to be this year, because he's the one who's going to work the most with Jalen Hurts on a day-to-day basis. Well, that was Brian Johnson in 2022 when he was a runner-up for MVP. So, and in a lot of ways, I look at, and I've been pretty consistent. Look, if you're Jeffrey Lurie and you approve sort of staying in-house and the plan that they went with, and that was Brian Johnson replacing Shane Steichen. Ultimately, Sean Desai. Now, they wanted Vic Fangio, but the timing didn't work out. And by the way, Vic is the one who recommended Sean Desai to the Eagles. So, if you go into that situation and you don't expect growing pains, that's your fault. That's your fault. And that's part of it. And the Eagles went through it. And that's the strange part. They went through it with Shane and Jonathan Gannon, and it blossomed in the second season. And they just did not show patience or anything of that nature because the expectations were raised. That was the difference. Coming into the Super Bowl season, not many people thought the Eagles were going to make the Super Bowl. They had come off a playoff berth and people thought they would improve, but not many thought they were going to be a significant Super Bowl contender. Coming into this season, everybody did. They didn't reach that level. And to me, Jeffrey Lurie overreacted. I've been pretty consistent with that. But Brian Johnson is a damn good football coach, despite what the people in Philadelphia think.
Talking with John McMullen, Bird 365 each morning on the Jacob Media YouTube channel, at JF McMullen on the Twitter X platform. John, if I can follow up what you said about, Brian Johnson being a good coach. So what happened then? Like for you, what was it? Just people had a down year? Was it that, there was a disconnect between Johnson and the players? Like for you, how do you define someone that you're saying is a good coach and a guy who has a good resume, by the way? It's not like Brian Johnson came out of nowhere. He wasn't like some nobody. But how do you have a good coach and things go as oddly as they did?
Well, traditionally, we judge an NFL season by an NFL season. And I think a lot of people weren't judging it by an NFL season. They were judging by the way it ended. By no means am I trying to say it ended well. It was a disaster. I'm with you. But, bottom line is they had a top 10 offense. Number 8 overall. They were at number 2 in third down offense, number 1 in fourth down offense. These are not bad numbers. These are numbers that lap what Kellen Moore did with the Chargers. So again, the expectations were so out of whack in Philadelphia that a top 10 offense that excels in situational football for the most part was deemed a disaster by many. It's crazy. I mean, there's 24 teams that would like to be number 8 in the NFL in offense, and there's only 32 teams. So it depends where your expectations are. And the Eagles' expectations, well, they should have been 1 or 2. I can't. The people that say that are just unrealistic. It's really hard to do. On paper, some guys had regressions. Remember, again, 2022 was a career year. Most of the career years, so many players, most of them came on defense. But one of the most notable players who had a career year was Jalen Hurts, and he regressed. And when your quarterback regresses, well, it becomes more difficult to have the number 1 or number 2 or they were actually number 3 in offense, number 2 in defense. It becomes more difficult. And I think that's what happened.
I think the thing with what you said there, John, were 2 things. And I want to ask you each one of them separately before I let you go. You mentioned about the impatience within the fans and the organization. Why do you think there is this, for lack of a term, I understand the average fan being frustrated, right? Fans are going to get frustrated about a lot of things, but why would the organization be so frustrated and impatient if they have the same information? I'm not saying you're wrong, John, but I'm trying to flesh it out of you so the audience understands what you're trying to say here. Why was the organization looking at an offense that you just quantified as a top 10 offense in numerous categories, and they said it's not good enough?
The same reason the fans did, because they expected better. And by they, I'm mainly talking about one guy, and that's Jeffrey Lurie. So I think a lot of people have this misunderstanding that this is a core decision by a group, because typically the Eagles are very collaborative in their approach, and they want to be collaborative in their approach. But when it comes to high-level coaching decisions, it's one guy, and that's Jeffrey Lurie. Now, people can point to Howie, and Howie's his greatest advisor, but Nick Sirianni doesn't even report to Howie Roseman. He reports directly to Jeffrey Lurie. So, basically, it comes down to the whims of one man, and we've been through this in 2021 with Doug Peterson. Same thing happened. History repeating itself. Now, they had a much worse season. Doug, they only won 4 games there. But if you look at it, and again, from a patient perspective, you're 3 years off the only still Super Bowl win in franchise history. I think Doug deserved more than at least one more year with his decision making. And then if that doesn't work, I'm fine with it. You turn the page. I feel the same way with Nick Sirianni. It's even to a greater degree because Nick Sirianni has a 667 winning percentage, the best in team history, 3 consecutive playoff berths. And bottom line is he ordered them to change coordinators. Now, it was going to happen on the defensive side anyway, and everybody wanted Vic, so that's not an issue. But offensively, Nick didn't want to give up his offense. He has said from day one to the final season-ending press conference, I can't tell you how many times Nick Sirianni has told the beat reporters on the record and off the record, this is my offense. This will be my offense as long as I'm here. And it's not his offense because it was taken away from him because of the impatience of Jeffrey Lurie.
And then finally, because I wanted to touch on, because you mentioned about Jalen Hurts regressing. Before I let you go, how much of Jalen Hurts' regression was the league figuring out how to slow him down, as the 49ers players suggested, and how much of it was the coach's inability to help Jalen adjust to the league adjusting to him?
It's always players first. It's players first in good times, bad times, in different times. Personnel is more important than coaching. Hot routes is something I chuckle about because people would say the Eagles don't call hot routes. Nobody calls hot routes. That's that's a quarterback and a wide receiver recognizing a blitz on the field with an unaccounted for blitzer and adjusting. Nobody calls a hot route. To say they're not in an NFL offense is ludicrous on its face. Everybody knows it. Anybody who knows a modicum of football understands that. That's an example of the quarterback's responsibility. Now, you could say the coaches are not preparing him properly during the week, but I would argue, well, what's changed? Where he was playing at an MVP level the year before with the same coordinator who was actually his position coach, and if anything, was working harder with them at that particular time. Yeah, it's on the players more than the coaches. Always, always, always. And that's good times and bad times.
Great stuff from John McMullen, Birds 365 on the JK Media YouTube channel each morning. Him and Jody Mack joining us here on the Sports Bash. Josh Hennig filling in for Mike Gill on 97.3 ESPN. John, appreciate you jumping on an earlier time today. We'll talk soon.
All right, thanks, Josh.
And we'll dig deeper into some of that coaching philosophy, because when we look ahead to Super Bowl this Sunday, Chiefs and 49ers, Super Bowl 58, we'll talk with former defensive coordinator Paul Gunther coming up at 3 o'clock, because I want to get you guys a coach's perspective on these things. Because one of the things John mentioned is about how the coaches preparing for different scenarios, preparing the players, preparing for what the other team is doing. And Paul's going to give us a look into what that means in a game like the Super Bowl. That's coming up in about 14 minutes from now. Coming up the other side, more of your text, 609-403-0973, and your DMs into the 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Sea Isle City. Josh Hennig hanging out with you filling in for Mike Gill on a Tuesday.
It's Sixers Warriors tomorrow night on 97.3 ESPN with the voice of the Sixers, Tom McGinnis, calling all the exciting play-by-play action.
Maxey well beyond the arc for three. It's good. He ties it. Maxey with another three.
Coverage begins at 7:30. It's Sixers basketball all season long on South Jersey's radio home for Philadelphia 76ers basketball.
Here's Furkan with a breakout. Oh, yeah, reverse jam. Court loss, twist, turns, dumps it.
97.3 ESPN.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate through the site within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free. Just go to this exclusive web address, ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Did you miss year-end pricing? Not if you get to Matt Blatt Nissan. Year-end savings are extended. That means you can buy a brand new Nissan with $299 down and just $299 per month. That's less than a week of groceries.
Oh yeah, it's on at Matt Blatt Nissan.
Brand new 2024 Nissan Versa S for under 20 grand. And you can own it for just $299 per month. This is not a lease, program, or used car. Plus AJ the Trade Man wants to buy your vehicle today. So you can drive your new Nissan even with 0 down and 0% financing on every new Rogue or Frontier in stock, but only at MattBlattNissan.com. Great qualifications exist with approved credit. $27.78 per thousand finance. 2023 Nissan Rogues and Frontiers. Not all will qualify. Go to MattBlattNissan.com for complete details or call 844-917-4758. Price includes all costs to be paid by consumer, except for licensing, registration, and taxes. VIN RL 835598. Versa S MSRP 19465. 75 months at 5.64%. It's on at Matt Blatt Nissan on the Black Horse Pike. Egg Harbor Township.
Dog parents are loving Dr. Marty's Nature's Blend Premium Dog Food.
The way she acts and the way she moves, it's just so much better. She acts like she's like a puppy again. It's unbelievable.
Dr. Marty's Nature's Blend is a freeze-dried raw food made with 0 artificial preservatives, so it's naturally shelf-stable with no mess, freezer, or fridge required. Plus, it's full of premium turkey, beef, salmon, and meat your dog will love.
We started with Nature's Blend. She's happy, she sleeps well, she's energetic. I am just delighted with this product.
When given the choice, Nature's Blend and Amazon's #1 bestseller in dry dog food, 29 out of 30 dogs chose Nature's Blend first.
I'm so confident your dog will love it. Your order is backed with a 90-day guarantee.
Save up to 54% off Nature's Blend and get a free bag of delicious beef liver treats. Go to drmartypets.com/deal or text DEAL to 511-511. Text DEAL to 511-511. All pets are unique. Your pet's results can and will vary. Message and data rates may apply. Studies available upon request.
For your big game party, you better pop in to Total Wine and More for a guaranteed win. We've got thousands of bottles down every aisle, and prices so low they're gonna make you smile. Ask our helpful guides for a recommendation to add some spirits and wine to your beverage station. Discover something new and let the fun begin. Come on down to Total Wine and More for a guaranteed win.
Drink responsibly, B21.
Meet Cheryl. Hey. She's on vacation and lost in the moment. Unfortunately, so is her Chase debit card.
It's got to be somewhere.
Maybe she lost it at salsa night.
These skirts should have pockets.
Or maybe she lost it at Pilates.
3 and 2 and...
But she's not worried. With the Chase mobile app, she can lock her card till it turns up. Tools that help protect. One bank that puts you in control. Visit chase.com/checking. Chase, make more of what's yours.
Chase mobile app is available for select mobile devices. Message and data rates may apply. JP Morgan Chase Bank, N.A. member FDIC.
My wife and I both, we ended up mildly sick for a few months, and the nasal congestion was probably the worst part. I had like a post-nasal drip, just super congested all the time. We were taking everything we possibly could, but nothing really worked.
Kyrie was miserable until a friend recommended Navage. Navage offers immediate drug-free congestion relief, flushing your nasal passages with refreshing saline and sucking out mucus, germs, and other airborne irritants. Don't live in misery this cold season. Use Navage so you can breathe easier, sleep better, and feel your best right away.
The biggest thing Navage has done has completely cleaned out my nasal passages. It was from the first use. I was able to just clear out anything that was stopping me from breathing correctly. Navage helps me clear the way, literally clear the way, for me to operate better in the rest of my life.
Experience the Navage difference yourself. Navage is available at Navage.com or at Walmart, Walgreens, CVS, and Rite Aid. Navage, N-A-V-A-G-E.
97.3 ESPN has teamed up with Seize the Deal for incredible weekly offers from some fantastic local restaurants. Here's this week's deal.
Get a $50 gift card to dine like a rock star at Gin Ricky's, the Roy Social Hall.
This great deal starting Friday at 9 a.m. at seizethedeal.com.
It's the Sports Bash with Mike Gill.
Do I have everybody's attention now?
On 97.3 ESPN and the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app.
Let's squeeze in a couple texts before we wrap up the hour here. Josh Elliott for Mike Gill, the Sports Bash. 97.3 ESPN FM. Don't forget to download the 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Sea Isle City. Shout out to Reggie in Salem, tuning in all the way from the western side of South Jersey. Chime in and says, I heard the Pistons and Kings want Tobias Harris. Should we trade him or keep him? And I heard if we get Kuzma from the Wizards, they want first-round picks. I think he would be instrumental piece for this team with his size, outside shooting, and rebounding. Also, should we call Chicago about DeRozan and Drummond or Caruso? A lot there from Reggie and Salem. Let's try to knock out each one of them real quick. And we'll dig deeper into it with Keith Pompey coming up in about 40 minutes from now. Also, 973 ESPN at 5:25. Here's the first thing. To me, Reggie, I would only trade Tobias if I'm getting a high-level return. I'm not trading Tobias for someone without Caruso or Andre. If you're getting somebody that's a potential all-star caliber player for Tobias Harris, I'd be open to it. The reason why teams like the Pistons want Tobias is because he's an expiring contract. In that case, you can give up any of your expiring contracts, and this team would be happy. I don't know if Kuzma is a legitimate upgrade. I really don't. I don't look at Kuzma as a younger, more athletic version of Tobias. I don't know if he's actually a better player in that situation. I wouldn't get 2 first-round picks for Kyle Kuzma ever. I like the idea of DeMar DeRozan a lot. It's a question of, does Chicago realize if they are not a contender, they should be a seller? Paul Gunther, former NFL coordinator, next.
It's Flyers Panthers. Listen at Coverage begins at 7 p.m. It's Flyers hockey all season long on South Jersey's radio home for Philadelphia Flyers hockey. 97.3 ESPN and the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app.
Something good to know from First Bank of Sea Isle City. We have all of today's innovative banking products just like the big banks, but we offer something they can't. A personal community focus. Let's get you started with Bill Pay. You save time when you pay your bills online. It's fast, easy, and convenient. First Bank of Sea Isle City, a community bank that delivers more for you every day. Personal service, today's technology, from the people who truly care. Learn more at firstbankseaisle.com.
Member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Now, during Staples Print Big Sale, get $20 off your print purchase of $100 or more, $50 off your print purchase of $200 or more, and $100 off your print purchase of $300 or more. So the more you print at Staples, the more you save. To demonstrate, print at Staples, you save. But if you print at Staples, you save. See how that works? Staples Print Big Sale. Print more, save more. Up to $100. Ends 2/10. Visit staples.com/print for details.
For your big game party, you better pop in to Total Wine and More for a guaranteed win. We've got thousands of bottles down every aisle, and prices so low they're gonna make you smile. Ask our helpful guides for a recommendation to add some spirits and wine to your beverage station. Discover something new and let the fun begin. Come on down to Total Wine and More for a guaranteed win.
Drink responsibly, B21.
Broadlee's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning has you covered in every season. Join their family comfort plan for priority service and savings on your annual maintenance. Ready to replace your HVAC system? Call Broadlee's for a free quote and learn how you can save long-term by upgrading to more efficient equipment. Get 0% financing and rebates up to $1,500. As a factory-authorized Bryant dealer, Broadlee's does whatever it takes for your comfort. So give them a call today at 609-390-3907.
This year, Dell Technologies wants to help you do amazing things with their best tech. For a limited time only, save on select next-gen PCs like the XPS 13 Plus, powered by Intel Core processors, and more. Plus, curate your dream setup with great deals on select monitors, mice, and more must-have electronics and accessories. When you shop online at Dell.com/deals, you'll have access to leading-edge technology to match your forward-thinking spirit and free shipping on everything. Again, that's Dell.com/deals.
Timmy, everybody. Great job. Next up, we have Samantha.
10 times better performance can make a big difference. Castrol Edge Motor Oil gives your engine 10 times better high temperature performance. Castrol Edge, better oil for maximum performance. Now through March 4th, get 5 quarts of Castrol Edge or Edge High Mileage Full Synthetic and an oil filter for $36.99. Only at AutoZone.
Claim based on Sequence 3 H test versus API SP test limits.
At Bet365, we don't do ordinary. We believe that every sport should be epic. Every basket, every game, every point, every play. From the moments that are legendary to the ones that fly under the radar. Whether it's a game-winning goal in the final seconds of overtime or a shot on goal in the first period. Whatever the sport, whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. 21 plus only, must be present in New Jersey. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Terms and conditions apply.
I always wanted to learn Spanish, but I never thought I'd have the time. Then I discovered Babbel.
Babbel's lessons are fun. They only take like 10 or 15 minutes, and in 3 weeks, presto, you're starting to speak another language. Like magic.
I love that Babbel's lessons aren't just robots talking. They're voiced by native speakers, so you get the pronunciation just right. And they're designed by real language teachers, so you learn how to have real-world conversations, things you'll actually use.
It's incredible. After using Babbel, I'm ready to start having real conversations in French.
There's all kinds of ways to learn. Use Babbel's podcasts or games or videos. You can even join live classes with a language teacher.
If you want to learn a language, there's no faster, easier, better way than
Babbel.
Babbel.
Babbel. Babbel. Évidemment. Babbel. Language for life. Celebrating 10 million subscriptions sold. Go to Babbel.com and start learning a new language today. That's Babbel.com. Start learning a language today at Babbel.com.
Hi, this is Brighton Richards from Apex East Roofing. You know, the blonde-haired girl in the pink truck. If you've been having issues with your roof from all the rain over the last few weeks, or if you're just worried about leaks from upcoming storms this winter, give us a call. We can be at your house within 24 to 48 hours for an estimate and install a new roof within 1 to 7 business days. We also do emergency tarping and repairs, as well as siding and gutters.
Get a price on your roof in 30 seconds at ApexEastRoofing.com.
Home of the Philadelphia Eagles.
Thank God I'm again!
Sixers.
Bang! It's good! Ball game!
And Flyers. 97.3 ESPN, WENJ, WENJ HD, Millville, Atlantic City, a Town Square media station serving all of South Jersey. This is the Sports Bash with Mike Gill on 97.3 ESPN and the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app. Now live from the Matt Blatt Kia Studios. Here we go.
The Sports Bash on 97.3 ESPN FM, the 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Sea Isle City. We'll connect with Paul Gunther longtime NFL coach, defensive coordinator, in just a couple minutes here on 97.3 ESPN. Still have your text to get to at 609-403-0973 and your DMs into 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Seattle. Joel Embiid, what is his future look like? We'll talk about that with Keith Pompey coming up in less than 30 minutes from now from the Philadelphia Inquirer and Philly.com. I want to get back to some of your guys' texts before we connect the call here on the text board. A lot of texts that came in the first hour about the Sixers and what is going on with them. I wanted to address as many of you guys as I can at 609-403-0973 and your DMs into 973. ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank. Now, we're going with Paul Dunn for just a couple minutes about his perspective on the Super Bowl, like NFL coaching perspective on the biggest game of the year between the Chiefs and the 49ers. Anonymous message coming in says the Sixers are not good enough even with Joel. Wait till the end of the year with all the free agents with the money and then take a shot then. The problem is that two things that Anonymous message. One, there's no guarantee that this Sixers team have a shot next year. There's no promise. There's no guarantee of any of that stuff. This free agent crop this offseason is not great. It's not like it is something to get excited about. There are a couple of interesting players, but none of them are game-changing players for the Sixers. Now, if you're telling me that you are going to have all this free cap space and you're going to use that cap space to maybe absorb a large contract, sure, I can rock with that. But waiting to the end of the year to get all that free agent money, it's no guarantee of anything. We as sports fans, I include myself in this conversation, we all have been trained because of the world of, for me growing up, it was NBA Live, right? When I was in junior high and high school, but for everybody else, NBA 2K for younger folks than me, it's the idea that we look at sports through the prism of, well, we have all this information. I can sit here and type in who the NBA free agents are this upcoming offseason. It doesn't mean that any of these guys are a good fit for the Sixers. For example, the biggest names in free agency are Klay Thompson, James Harden, Pascal Siakam, DeMar DeRozan, D'Angelo Russell. I don't think any of those five guys are worth burning through $50+ million in salary cap space. Now, if you're telling me that you can get a Thompson, DeRozan, or someone like that on a discount, and then give Tyrese Maxey the big contract that he deserves, I can play with you with that. I can work with you with that. But we act like because they're going to have money doesn't mean they can get money. Like, for example, if you were to tell me that, look, it's not about free agents, these offers coming, it's about absorbing someone's contract. Well, the Celtics aren't trading you Drew Holiday. The Nuggets are not trading you Jamal Murray. I'm assuming New Orleans is not shopping Brandon Ingram. I'm not trading a bunch of assets for Bruce Brown. Malcolm Brogdon, shoulder shrug. Bogdanovich from Detroit, I think it'd be a nice addition, but I don't think he fixes all your problems. I just named guys from the 2025 free agent class, guys who will all be on expiring contracts next year. So if you're telling me, hey, use that salary cap space to absorb one of those guys, I hear you. Another anonymous message coming in over on the DM says, should the Sixers on the 973 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Seattle says, should the Sixers trade Embiid since he can't make it through a whole season? The problem to me with trading Embiid is twofold. One, if you're building a team to contend right here, right now, you can't do that. Now, I'll dive deeper into that with Keith Pompey coming up in about 25 minutes from now. Right now, it's promised longtime NFL coach, defensive coordinator for the Cincinnati Bengals and the Raiders, Oakland and Las Vegas. I mean, that's a conversation for another day we got to have with him about, what was it like being on a team that moved from one city to another. Paul Gunther joins us now here on 97.3 ESPN. Josh Hennick filling for Mike Gill on Tuesday afternoon. Paul, welcome in. How you doing today?
Josh, doing great. How you doing?
I'm glad you jumped on because I was telling the audience I want a coach's perspective on the Super Bowl because let's be realistic, Paul. We all can sit at the bar and talk about a game, but you lived and breathed a lot of this stuff. Here's where I'm going to start with you. Tell the audience about what goes into it for a coach when you have 2 weeks to prepare for an opponent, because I'm assuming it's a completely different environment and mindset from the 6 or 5 days to basically 2 weeks preparation.
There's no doubt. I think the first week when you're at your home facility, say Kansas City, and there in San Francisco is at their facility, that last week was all really the meat and potatoes of the game plan. And then obviously when you travel to the site, you try to keep the weeks as common as you can for the players. The players love routine. So like today, for instance, Tuesdays is an off day for the players. So you let them have off in Vegas. And then Wednesday, you come back. It's basically first and second down, some third downs. Thursday would be red zone. Some more third downs, maybe a little bit of 2-minute. Friday, goal line, short yardage, a little bit more red zone, those type of things. And Saturday, you're tying up all the loose ends for the game on Sunday. But the meat and potatoes of the game plan goes in the week that you're at your facility. That way, when you go to Vegas, there's a lot of distractions. Obviously, last night we saw the immediate day, and today they have the day off. And Wednesday, you want these practices to be kind of real crisp. You're going back through the things you already worked on, and then maybe adding some tweaks, some gadget plays, those type of things that may come up in the game for you to run.
Now, you just mentioned about giving the players, an extra day off here and there. How much of those days off as a coach is not wanting to do too much information overload for them?
Well, that's a natural thing, especially from a coaching standpoint, is, you may have a 4-game breakdown. Let's just say Kansas City's playing the 49ers during the season, and they use four opponents that are like them on offense or like them on defense. They'll use those 4 games for their breakdown. Well, when you have 2 weeks off, you're kind of looking at everything. You can look at the whole season's worth of third downs, the whole season's worth of red zone, whatever it is. And you try not to put too much new stuff in on the players. Because at the end of the day, when you look back at these games as coaches, you say, hey, what did they do so good? It's really not that much different than what they were good at during the season. So it's not like you're going to reinvent the wheel going into this game. You just got to make sure that the details are fine.
You mentioned about reinventing the wheel. Paul Gunther, longtime NFL coach, defensive coordinator with the Cincinnati Bengals and the Raiders, joining us here on 97.3 ESPN. Paul, you mentioned about reinventing the wheel. What is it about Andy Reid and the Chiefs that has made them this dynastic team that we're seeing?
I think what they do a good job, and this goes way back when he was in Philadelphia, from a defensive perspective, you're always trying to look at the formation and say, okay, out of this formation, I know they run these 3 plays. These are their main 3 plays. Well, he may format the formation in a different way. It may be 3 receivers over here. I know what that play is. And all of a sudden they motion the guy over to get to that. Or it might be, hey, on tape, I saw this on tape. These 3 receivers were 2 receivers and a tight end. Well, now with the tight end, a fullback, and a receiver, where it's all the same concepts for the quarterback, but he runs it out of different personnels and different formations with motion. So he does a lot of window dressing of the same plays, and that's why they're so good on offense.
Okay, so you said window dressing. So, you played for you. I mean, so you worked under guys who were longtime coaches in this league. Marvin Lewis, John Gruden. When you have coaches that have been around that long, and then you look at a guy like Andy Reid, who's been around coaching since 1999 as a head coach, how much of that window dressing is basically saying, hey, I know that you know what I'm bringing to the table, but I'm trying to show you something different.
It's really the whole scheme of it all is showing. Now he'll have some new stuff, and Andy's always been good at, hey, if we ran this play, 3 weeks ago, they're going to see this play. So let's run it in a different way, or let's shift to it. He's very, very good at self-scouting himself. And you'll see that as you go through it. We'll look. He may do something from last year's season that they haven't run all year, so that they've been really working on for the right time. I mean, I think we've seen it in other Super Bowls. Some of the red zone concepts he's run from years past that just hasn't shown up. And to me, that's really where their creatives in the red zone of getting guys that they want to get up in Kelsey, the runner, those type of things in the red zone to get those guys open.
Let's flip over to the defense for the Chiefs, because I think Steve Spagnuolo has done an amazing job this year with this defense. They've got an interesting mixture of youth and veterans. What, as a coach, have you seen that Kansas City has done this year that has made that defense so impactful that they are top 10 in so many different categories?
I think really this is, and how Spags has had an opportunity to interview for head coach, just with the job he's done this year alone, is baffling to me. I don't think people understand in the NFL, especially when you're going to the playoffs every year, how hard it is to be successful every year. And I think probably early on when Mahomes just started getting going and they were scoring 30, 35 points a game. They get up early, and then you could kind of dial up blitzes and coverages and let the guys rush. Their offense was really the strong point. Well, this year, in my opinion, the defense has been stellar. They have a good blend of youth and older players. He mixes up the coverages really good, and he understands protections and how to attack the protections. The biggest key in this game is going to be stopping the outside zone plays and some of the perimeter screens that the 49ers like to run. So I think tackling is going to be a premium.
You mentioned about matching up. Do the Chiefs match up well with the 49ers? Because, Paul, all year people have said that the 49ers are one of the most difficult teams to match up with. But we saw in the postseason, the Packers, they slowed them down a little bit. Packers aren't the most talented team in the league, right? You saw a team like the Lions. They're not as good as the Chiefs defense, but yet for a one half, they slowed down the 49ers offense. So do the Chiefs match up well with the 49ers offense?
I believe they do. I mean, they do a good job. Obviously on the perimeter with their corners, they tackle. There's not a lot of corners that like to tackle, and that's really what the 49ers forced the opposing teams to make their corners tackle, whether it be a wide receiver screen or a reverse or an outside zone running play. They do a good job with their interior front on the cutback runs. Jones is a handful inside there, and they move him around a bunch. So to get an idea where he lines up is always difficult. And I think Willie Gay's become a really good young player that's ascending, and he's kind of running orchestrating the defense.
Let's flip it over to the 49ers offense, Paul. When you look at that offense, what is the difference for you, from your perspective as a coach, between, Kyle Shanahan, this is the third time he's been in this big stage, right? He had the Falcons offense MVP winner, Matt Ryan. Then he got with the 49ers, Jimmy Garoppolo. Now it's Brock Purdy and this version. For you, is there a difference or a variable for you for the 49ers from the last couple of times Shanahan was on the big stage compared to this time?
I think the quarterback play has been a lot steady. And it's what they do a great job of. And it's the first thing you notice when you put the film on. It's just the way they get up and get down. They get off the ball. Some people say, like, if you close your eyes and you listen to it on the field, it's a different sound of when their offensive line comes off the ball, because they're always in conjunction. They do a good job of working with one another, whether it's, cutting the backside of a play where McCaffrey can put his foot in the ground and cut back. The receivers and tight ends do an awesome job of blocking downfield. And that's why, big plays for them are, long runs, wide receiver screens, reverses to Debo, those type of things, because they're a selfless group where everybody's involved, everybody's blocking, there's no guys taking off. And then obviously what they make you do is they make you play an 8-man front on defense. And then so your corners are outside leverage and your nickels are outside leverage of the receivers because you're in 8-man spacing. And what they do with their passing game, knowing that you're going to be in an 8-man front, is a lot of inside breaking routes in between the numbers, whether it be digs or crossers or those type of things. So they really, really do a good job of mixing run and pass, where, to me, I think the weakness of the 49ers, not so much the last couple weeks, is if you have to force them to drop back and throw the ball. That's where, they're not as quite as varied as you would say, but they've done a good job the last couple of weeks in those situations, which is encouraging to see.
Now, you mentioned about the weakness there. So for you, when you say drop back and throw the ball, are you referring to like the volume of throwing, or are you talking about like, taking deep shots or pressing the ball down the field?
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, hey, it's where you're down 14 points and you got to get in the shotgun and everybody in the ballpark knows you're throwing the ball. Those type of things. If you can get them in those type of situations, and like I said, the last couple of weeks, because they got behind against Green Bay and they got behind against Detroit, that has been their kryptonite, if you will. When you get them behind and you're not really worried about the play actions, you're not really worried about the runs. If they want to run the ball for 5 yards, so be it. Where you can sit back and play coverage and make the quarterback beat you in different style of coverages.
Okay, so we know that the guy on the other side of the field is Patrick Mahomes, right?
Yep.
So we know that in many cases, a lot of team strategy is play keep away, right? Don't give Pat Mahomes as few opportunities as possible to beat you. Is that a strategy the 49ers can use in a game like this?
I think, honestly, if you really watch the Chiefs the last couple of weeks, after I think they lost on Christmas Day, I think they really reinvented their offense, where it's, hey, we're going to run the ball. We're going to run the ball in between the tackles with Pacheco on the perimeter, and we're going to throw short to intermediate passes. If you look at Baltimore, who's a zone-heavy defense, they probably threw the couple of drives they had, they threw the ball 5, 7, 8, 5. I think the longest throw of the game was the last one in a 4-minute situation that iced the game. So to me, it's going to be, that's an extension of their run game. They trust Pat Mahomes in zone defenses to throw the ball accurately for 5 yards, for 7 yards, hand the ball to Pacheco, throw a screen to Pacheco. They're going to have to slow the rush down of the 49ers early in the ball game with screens, those type of things. And then, you're keeping the ball away from the 49ers. That's really what they did against Baltimore, and Baltimore kind of panicked a little bit, I thought, on offense, just because they felt like they were behind the 8 ball all day, that they needed to, score quick. So to me, that's what that's what the Chiefs have become. They used to be a shot team where they're throwing bombs to Tyreek Hill down the field, and now they're more of a short to intermediate running team.
Call more for former NFL defensive coordinator Paul Gunther joining me here, Josh Hennig, on a Tuesday afternoon, the Sports Bash on 97.3 ESPN. You mentioned the 49ers pass rush. Well, Andy Reid said last night it's a long shot for Joe Thuney to play in this game on Sunday. So without a guy who is a Pro Bowl, all-pro caliber left guard in Thuney, are the Chiefs going to be able to slow down the 49ers pass rush?
To me, that's the guy that's filling in for him, Nick Allegretti, is a really good run blocker. And he did a really good job. You watched the film last week against the Ravens, blocking it. And again, going back to what I was saying earlier, was just the 3 and 5 step drops where the ball's coming out and the pass rush can't get to Mahomes in time to get him. So I think the 49ers, they're a big cover 3 team. They play a little bit of quarters, which is zone concept. They're going to have to play a little bit more man-match defenses against the Chiefs, so they have a body for a body. Otherwise, Mahomes is going to take 3. He's going to take 5. He's going to be accurate, and if he gets hot, it's going to be a long day for the 49ers. But, again, if they can make them hold the ball, cover their guys, then that's where the Chiefs are going to struggle protecting Mahomes.
Paul, before I let you go, for you, when we're all watching the game on Sunday, what is going to be the key that you're watching for in this game that could determine the outcome?
I would look early on is the Chiefs have been pretty good run defense pretty much all year. I would say early on in the ball game, the 49ers are really gashing them in the running game. That means that they're gonna have control of the game as far as running, play action, those type of things. If they're struggling to run the ball early, it's going to be tough because obviously Mahomes it's tough to bet against Mahomes. I would say that, just playing against the guy in so many years. He's just a really good player. So I would say if the 49ers were able to run the ball early and have high success, particularly in the first 20 quarter and a half of the game, that would be a good sign for the 49ers.
Former Bengals and Raiders defensive coordinator, longtime NFL coach Paul Gunther was my guest here on the Sports Bash. Josh Hennig filling in for Mike Gill on a Tuesday edition on 97.3 ESPN. Paul, great stuff. I appreciate you joining me today.
Awesome, Josh. Appreciate it. Have a good one. Enjoy the game.
Absolutely. Paul Gunther joining us here on 97.3 ESPN. I love when he talked about how, it's about these matchups. It's about putting yourself in a position for these matchups. And I just can't get that out of my mind, the idea that, as I mentioned, Joe Thuney, this guy is being replaced by a guy whose strength is run blocking. Allegretti, he said he's a great run blocker. Well, sometimes when you're great at one skill, you might not be good at something else. So do the 49ers press the Chiefs on that point on Super Bowl Sunday? Well, you can find out. You can hear the whole game's coverage starting at 5 o'clock right here on 97.3 ESPN. You can hear the streaming on the 97.3 ESPN mobile app, free thanks to First Bank of Seattle. All right, we're going to get back to the Sixers conversation next. Keith Pompey, Sixers insider for Philadelphia Inquirer and Philly.com. Joel Embiid, he will be reevaluated in 4 weeks. But what does that mean for the trade deadline that is about 48 hours away? Well, that's Keith Pompey coming up next. Josh Hennig filling for Mike Gill on 97.3 ESPN.
Wake up weekday mornings from 6 to 10 a.m. with Unsportsmanlike on 97.3 ESPN with Evan Cohen, Super Bowl champion Chris Canty, and Michelle Small. Can't wake up without it. Brought to you by the Gallery Bar Book and Games at Ocean Casino Resort in Atlantic City.
Hey Flyers fans, it's time to level up your game day ritual with the ultimate power duo, the Philadelphia Flyers and Union Forge Vodka. Picture this, the thrill of the game, roar of the crowd, and in your hand, a glass of ultra smooth, 6 times distilled Union Forge perfection. Union Forge is made right here in Philly, so whether you're cheering at the arena or creating your fan zone at home, make it epic with Union Forge Vodka, the official vodka of the Philadelphia Flyers. Cheer on the Flyers with the best tasting vodka produced right here in Philly. Grab a Union Forge bottle today.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same, but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online? Go to hims.com/joy. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, and the process is 100% online. To start your free online visit, go to hims.com/joy. That's HIMS.com/JOY.
Nizam's Indian Restaurant on Route 40 in Egg Harbor Township is South Jersey's best Indian restaurant, serving authentic food from different parts of South Asia. Make your partner happy this Valentine's Day. Make your reservations today. Nizam's is ready to serve you delicious Indian dishes. There are also many extensive vegan options. Open 7 days a week, 11:30 to 9:30 p.m. Special lunch buffet on Sunday from 11:30 to 3. Visit thenizams.com for more information.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-294-8831 now. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-294-8831. That's 800-294-8831. What do you have to lose? Call 800-294-8831. Again, 800-294-8831.
Are you ready for an evening of laughter and good times? Then get to Ovation Hall and Ocean Casino Resort on Friday, July 5th for an unforgettable night with comedian Pat McGann. As a rising star in the comedy world, Pat McGann has quickly become known for his sharp humor and relatable take on family life. You'll be laughing all night long as he tells hilarious tales of parenthood and shares his quick wit with the crowd. Don't miss Pat McGann at Ovation Hall and Ocean Casino Resort. Tickets on sale Friday, February 9th at theoceanac.com.
This year, Dell Technologies wants to help you do amazing things with their best tech. For a limited time only, save on select next-gen PCs like the XPS 13 Plus, powered by Intel Core processors, and more. Plus, curate your dream setup with great deals on select monitors, mice, and more must-have electronics and accessories. When you shop online at Dell.com/deals, you'll have access to leading-edge technology to match your forward-thinking spirit and free shipping on everything. Again, that's Dell.com/deals.
Did you miss year-end pricing? Not if you get to Matt Blatt Nissan. Year-end savings are extended. That means you can buy a brand new Nissan with $299 down and just $299 per month. That's less than a week of groceries.
Oh yeah, it's on at Matt Blatt Nissan.
Brand new 2024 Nissan Versa S for under $20 grand. And you can own it for just $299 per month. This is not a lease, program, or used car. Plus AJ the Trade Man wants to buy your vehicle today. So you can drive your new Nissan even with 0 down and 0% financing on every new Rogue or Frontier in stock, but only at MattBlattNissan.com. Rate qualifications exist with approved credit. $27.78 per thousand financed. 2023 Nissan Rogues and Frontiers. Not all will qualify. Go to MattBlattNissan.com for complete details or call 844-917-4758. Price includes all costs to be paid by consumer except for licensing, registration, and taxes. VIN RL 835598. Versa S MSRP 19465. 75 months at 5.64%. It's on at Matt Blatt Nissan on the Black Horse Pike. Egg Harbor Township.
Tax Talk with Straight Talk.
You give and you give. This tax season, you get with Straight Talk Wireless. You get a reliable 5G network and unlimited data and a new Samsung Galaxy A15 for just $99. So you can give your janky phone to your kid. Good talk.
Switch to Straight Talk for plans starting as low as $25 a line per month for 4 lines. Find us at Walmart and StraightTalk.com. For network management practices, visit StraightTalk.com. Device offer ends 4/14/24. In-store activation on single, silver, unlimited plan or higher required. Family plan discount. Taxes and fees apply.
97.3 ESPN up with Seize the Deal for incredible weekly offers from some fantastic local restaurants. Here's this week's big deal.
Get a $50 gift card to dine like a rock star at Gin Ricky's, the Royce Social Hall, and Wild Honey Barbecue for just $25. Hurry, chances are this deal will sell quickly. Let the fun be gin.
Get this great deal starting Friday at 9 a.m. at SeizeTheDeal.com.
Seize the deal.
It's the Sports Bash with Mike Gill.
Do I have everybody's attention now?
On 97.3 ESPN and the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app.
Josh Honey playing for Mike Gill here on the Sports Bash on 97.3 ESPN. Sports Bash being brought to you by the Gallery Bar, Booking Games and Ocean Casino Resort. Whether it's football season, basketball season, go to the Gallery, go to the Ocean, go for the win. For more info, visit theoceanac.com. Listen, whether it's Super Bowl Sunday, March Madness, the gallery at Ocean Casino Resort in Atlantic City is the place to be. Listen, I know Mike Gill, you hear Mike Gill all the time, but I'm telling you someone different, okay? The Ocean is the place you wanna be. Whether it's the Super Bowl, March Madness, NBA playoffs, whatever your like is, whatever your interest is, the Gallery Bar book games at Ocean Casino Resort in Atlantic City. For more info, visit oceanac.com. Let's dig deeper into the Sixers now. What is going to happen next for Philadelphia as we are counting down the hours to the trade deadline? Well, Sixers insider for Philly.com, Philadelphia Inquirer, Keith Pompey joining us here on 97.3 ESPN. Keith, I appreciate you making the time. How you doing today, my friend?
I'm doing well. You?
I'm doing good. So let's give some clarity for the audience out there. So when the reporting comes out that Embiid has successful surgery, which I never heard of an unsuccessful surgery, but I digress. Right, yeah, exactly. I think the last guy with unsuccessful surgery was Grant Hill because he had septic, right? That's the last guy I could think of that had unsuccessful surgery. But so he has successful surgery. He's being reevaluated in 4 weeks. So translate that for the audience.
Well, basically, so I think the Sixers aren't. They're not being a little transparent, but they are being transparent. And what I mean by that is, so apparently there was 2 types of procedures that Joel could have. He could have the repair where he goes in there and he gets the knee repaired, or he goes in there and he gets the the meniscus taken out, like snipped out, right? The piece, whatever. So the thing is, for the recovery for the first one, repair is 4 months. You're going to be out for 4 months. So if the Sixers are the recovery for the second one, where it gets snipped and it's like Arthur, gets scoped and all that, what that is, that's from 4 to 6 weeks. So when they say he's going to be reevaluated in 4 weeks, it's basically telling us that, and 4 to 6 weeks, and they're basically trying to see if he can return to play. So he got the latter one. He got it scoped. They're going to check him out in 4 weeks. The hope is that he's going to be able to come back and play. So that's what they're saying. When he gets reevaluated, he's going to be reevaluated so they can see where he is in that process. But that recovery time is 4 to 6 weeks, which means is in 4 weeks from now is March the 2nd. March the 2nd, including that Sixers will play the Brooklyn Nets in Brooklyn. Including that game, they will have 22 games left in the season, and then they go into the playoffs. So they're saying that the hope is that if everything goes well, Joel Embiid will return late in the season.
Okay, so with that being said, I know for me, and we talked about it for the last hour and a half now, Keith. I saw the Sixers last night. I saw them Saturday. I don't know if this team is good enough as currently constructed to last until Joel Embiid gets back. Like, I'm looking through their schedule coming up. I mean, you got multiple games against the Knicks, multiple games against the Cavs. You got the Bucks, the Celtics on the schedule. This is not an easy one. Oh, by the way, the Warriors are coming to town tomorrow night, and you're one crazy night from Steph Curry from a loss, basically. So, this team is currently constructed. I don't know if they are capable of staying above water without Embiid until he comes back.
Yeah, and see, that's the thing. So the one thing is, I think they need to go out there and they need to make a trade. I think they need to make a trade for Andre Drummond. I've been saying that for, the last couple of days. And the reason being is when we look at the Sixers, you're never going to be able to replace Joel Embiid. I'm not looking for Drummond to do the things that Joel can do. What I'm looking for him to be is a consistent rebounder and be a presence, right? Someone who can set picks, someone who can do a lot of other things. Let's face it, he was a 2-time All-Star. So you bring him in there and then you try to get by. Now, the other thing is, I think that the one thing that we're all forgetting about is that, yes, you lost Joel Embiid. The Sixers do have a 4-10 record, a 4-11 record when Joel Embiid doesn't play. However, the thing is, they also were without Robert Covington, who's one of their key reserves. And in addition to that, Nico Batum and DeAnthony Melton also didn't play. Those three guys are their top three perimeter defenders, right? They're arguably their best three defenders on the team, right? So you don't have them, and then you don't have Joel Embiid. Joel Embiid's probably one of the top. He is one of the top defenders as well. But I'm talking about perimeter. They're the three best, right? So I feel like if you go out there, these guys are coming back. If you go out there and you get like a Drummond, I think that you can tread water a little bit. You know what I mean? You can. And then when Embiid comes back, see, my question is, do you want Embiid to be 100% and you're the fifth seed, or would you like Embiid to be 50 to 60% and you're the third seed? You understand what I'm saying? I feel like that this team could go on a nice run or be successful if Embiid is healthy and all these other guys are healthy. You know, the way this team is constructed.
Now, you mentioned Drummond. I'm assuming it's not going to take a ton of assets to get a guy like him at this point, right?
Might.
You say it might. Why is that?
Because they know you need them. And what I mean by the assets it's kind of like, okay, give us a draft pick. You know what I mean? So in regards to monetary, he's making $3 million. I wish I was making $3 million. Man, just give me $750,000, right? But the thing is, if you're Chicago and you know that the Sixers are in dire need to get Andre Drummond because of they need somebody to help stop the bleeding with Embiid, I'm like, okay, I want a nice young star, and I want a draft pick. So they it may cost a lot, but so that's the Sixers. If the Sixers go that route, they have to decide what they're willing to give up for this guy.
Keith Pompey joining us from the Philadelphia Inquirer, Philly.com, Sixers Insider, at Pompey on Sixers on the Twitter X platform. Joining me, Josh Eddick, filling in for Mike Gill on a Tuesday edition of the Sports Bash here on 97.3 ESPN. You mentioned Chicago, so that's kind of where I was going to go with that question originally. If you're going to get Drummond, is there another guy that the Sixers could maybe pry away from Chicago along with Drummond, considering that without LaVine, Chicago is going to fall pretty fast?
I'm trying to stay away from LaVine. I mean, well, I don't think they'll go get him. I mean, there are some other guys that you would like Alex Caruso and all this other stuff. But my thing is, what are you willing to give up to get that guy? And if you give up something, is that going to impact you? Is that going to hinder you? Like, I look at, right now, I don't think that Chicago is going to say, all right, well, we're going to take Jaden Springer for Alex Caruso. I don't think Chicago is going to say, we'll take KJ Martin for him. You know what I mean? Like, then it comes down to, we'll take somebody that you want, but we're not going to give you both of these guys. Does that make sense? So right now, I'm looking at Drummond as just, he's not a want, he's a need.
Mm-hmm.
He's a need. He's a need. He's a guy that they need. So I could say doing that, but I don't know if I want to go out there and get Caruso. Now, I would love to have Caruso if I'm the Sixers, but at the same time, what you giving them up for? You know what I mean? What are you giving up? What are you going to give up?
What do you say to the Sixer fans who would like to see DeMar DeRozan come to Philadelphia?
I like DeMar. The only thing is, I think that he would help out a little bit, but my question is, how much is that going to stunt Maxi's growth? Maybe for this season, I could see that, but I also believe that you're going to have to give up a lot for DeMar, though, in regards to those assets that you have, So the thing is, all right, so you have DeMar, and then DeMar comes off the books, and then you just go through free agency next summer. But I like DeMar, but I think that everybody talked about the one draft pick. I believe that for DeMar DeRozan, you're probably going to have to give up more than just one draft pick, because the going rate, you got guys who are, I'm not going to say role players, but they haven't been lethal scorers like him. They haven't been all-stars like him. Teams are getting 2 to 3 draft picks for him. So I think that DeMar, you're going to have to give up something for him.
Yeah, I know someone texted in earlier to the show about how Kyle Kuzma, and I'm like, I'm not giving up 2 first-round picks for Kyle Kuzma. I'm sorry. Like, there's no scenario I'm doing that. So you're right. There's a lot of guys who got a lot of currency potentially coming their way in these deals.
Yeah, a lot of them. And you know, Kyle Kuzma is a big name. He's a guy that Washington really likes. So in order for you to get him, you're going to have to give up something. And those picks may have to come because they really like him. He has a great contract. You know, he's a guy that could help the 76ers. The only thing is, though, if you have him and you have Tobias Harris, you know, I don't know if Washington wants Tobias,
right.
You know, but it's like, you in a way you're going to have 2 guys that have similar roles right now, and how is that going to impact it? But you know, I can see, you know, why everybody likes Kyle. I mean, and I think the Sixers aren't the only one. If they wanted him, they wouldn't be the only team. I mean, he's a great player with a great contract.
You led me right to Tobias Harris, which is where I wanted to go here, because he is on an expiring contract. So in the past, he is a candidate that teams would be interested in. But the Sixers have other expiring contracts as well. He's not the only, he's just the biggest expiring contract on this team. Do you foresee a scenario where Tobias Harris would get traded? Because let's be realistic, he is a guy that has value to this team.
I don't see it right now because, see, the thing about it is, I mean, you can trade Tobias, but in order for you to trade Tobias, I think that you would trade him for like a player that's better than him, right? You know what I mean? It has to be someone that's going to come in here and they're going to be, not you think is going to be better, someone you know that's going to be better. Like, I wouldn't trade Tobias unless I'm able to get a guy who was an all-star level player, right? You know what I mean? Or like, and then if not, if it's somebody under contract, you got to be 100% sure that that's going to be the guy that you really want, because you're giving away some of your cap space, right? Or so you have to like determine like, okay, well, if it is a Kyle Kuzma or someone like that, this is going to have to be somebody that we're going to move forward with. Like, we're 100% confident that he's going to be in part of the mix with Joel Embiid and Tyrese Maxey. The thing is, another thing with Tobias is kind of like, you know, right now when they're talking about winning, at least until Embiid comes back, it has to be the Maxey and Tobias show. Like, they're providing the scoring. Like, they're like the 2 guys that you're relying heavily on. So then all of a sudden, with Embiid being out, then you have to make sure that this next person that you have is able to do what Tobias is doing. Can he come in here and give you instant offense that you need until Embiid gets back? So there's a lot of variables to me and a lot of reasons why they should keep him. Now, again, if they can trade him and get an all-star type player, so be it. Do it. But if it's not, I don't know if I want to do that right now.
And the man covering all those variables at Pompey on Sixers on the Twitter X platform, at Philly.com for the Philadelphia Inquirer, is Keith Pompey joining us here on the Sports Bash. Josh Hennick filling for Mike Gill on 97.3 ESPN. Keith, before I let you go, I did want to publicly congratulate you on being the Philadelphia Sports Writers Association Stan Hochman Award recipient for journalism excellence this year. So congratulations, my friend. Well deserved.
Who, me? It's like, nah, thank you. I appreciate you, man. I really do. I really do. Thank you.
Keep up the great work, man.
Peace. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Josh Hennick filling in for Mike Gill here on 97.3 ESPN. Keith, for those who don't know, Keith's the hard worker. He is a to the grindstone type of guy. He's not a guy in it just for the glitz and the glamour. He doesn't do it for those reasons. You know, he's all hard work. So I was glad to see him get some recognition out there, and great stuff from him. He agreed with what I've said in the past, that, you know, you don't trade Tobias Harris unless you're getting an all-star caliber player in return. The problem is that in order to get that all-star caliber player, how many assets do you have to give up to get that guy? And as Keith said, does that guy fit in with Maxey and Embiid long term? Because you may get a guy who works great for like 8 weeks with Maxey, but then it doesn't work with Embiid. When Embiid comes back, how does that impact the future of this team? Things to think about from Keith Pompey. We'll talk more about the Sixers as well throughout the show. Coming up, more your text at 609-403-0973. And Austin Krell, our Sixers insider from 97.3 ESPN.com, join us coming up at 5:25 tonight.
It's Flyers Panthers tonight on 97.3 ESPN and the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app. Listen as Tim Saunders and Todd Fedor bring you all the exciting play-by-play action. Coverage begins at 7 p.m. It's Flyers hockey all season long on South Jersey's radio home for Philadelphia Flyers hockey, 97.3 ESPN and the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app.
Do you love a good cigar almost as much as your family? Well, maybe that's an exaggeration, but you can find that perfect cigar at Smokers Haven. With 5 New Jersey locations, Smokers Haven has the finest selection of cigars in the area, like Ashton, My Father's, Romeo and Julieta, Monte Cristo, and more. All from the finest tobacco leaves and hand-rolled by the world's finest cigar makers. All locations are fully open. Stop in and let them help you find the perfect cigar to pair with your life. See all they have and their locations at smokershavennj.com.
Some people just know the best rate for you is a rate based on you with Allstate. Not one based on the driver who treats the highway like a racetrack and the shoulder like a passing lane. Why pay a rate based on anyone else? Get one based on you with DriveWise from Allstate.
Not available in Alaska or California, subject to terms and conditions. Rates are determined by several factors, which vary by state. In some states, participation in DriveWise allows Allstate to use your driving data for purposes of rating. While in some states, your rate could increase with high-risk driving. Generally, safer drivers will save with DriveWise. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
For your big game party, you better pop in to Total Wine and More for a guaranteed win. We've got thousands of bottles down every aisle. Prices so low, they're gonna make you smile. Ask our helpful guides for a recommendation to add some spirits and wine to your beverage station. Discover something new and let the fun begin. Come on down to Total Wine and More for a guaranteed win.
Drink responsibly, B21. It seems like everywhere you look right now, someone is sick. This year, prepare your family for airborne invaders like bacteria, pollen, and yes, germs with Navage Nasal Care. Navage flushes ultra-pure, refreshing saline in one nostril, around the back of the nose, and out of the other nostril. Navage sucks out viruses, dust, and other airborne particles, all the stuff that gets trapped in your nose, making you miserable. Don't get caught empty-handed this winter. Get Navage, the drug-free solution that helps you breathe easier, sleep better, and feel healthier. Even better, Navage is HSA FSA eligible, so Navage is a great way to spend those funds before they expire. Don't wait a minute longer. Buy Navage today and you'll breathe easier knowing you're putting your funds to good use. Navage is available online at Navage.com or Walmart, Walgreens, CVS, and Rite Aid. Navage, Navage. Clean nose, healthy life.
They are an elite division in charge of Jersey's most precious cargo. Okay, team, let's move. The New Jersey Lottery Scratch-Offs Division presents new precious metal scratch-offs.
Jerry, this movie trailer music is giving me goosebumps. I know, right?
Bronze, silver, gold, and platinum scratch-offs with top prizes up to $1 million.
Now playing at lottery retailers near you.
Go, go, go. Must be 18 or older to buy a lottery ticket. Please play responsibly. If you're someone you know has a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Rated PT for play today.
Easy Cater presents We've Got Your Back. Upstairs.
So I order food on Easy Cater for a meeting with a new client in Jackson.
Gotta feed clients in Jackson.
On my way to the airport, it hits me. The client is actually in Jacksonville.
Feed clients in Jacksonville.
So I call Easy Cater. Nina picks up right away.
Fix it for you.
She called me right back and said, you're all set.
Fix it, Jackson.
Jackson. Easy Cater has your back with 24/7 support. Order at easycater.com and know.
Wait.
Dog parents are loving Dr. Marty's Nature's Blend Premium Dog Food.
The way she acts and the way she moves, it's just so much better.
She's like a puppy again. It's unbelievable.
Dr. Marty's Nature's Blend is a freeze-dried raw food made with 0 artificial preservatives, so it's naturally shelf-stable with no mess, freezer, or fridge required. Plus, it's full of premium turkey, beef, salmon, and meat your dog will love.
We started with Nature's Blend. She's happy, she sleeps well, she's energetic. I am just delighted with this product.
When given the choice, Nature's Blend and Amazon's #1 bestseller in dry dog food, 29 out of 30 dogs chose Nature's Blend first.
I'm so confident your dog will love it. Your order is backed with a 90-day guarantee.
Save up to 54% off Nature's Blend and get a free bag of delicious beef liver treats. Go to drmartypets.com/deal or text DEAL to 511-511. Text DEAL to 511-511. All pets are unique. Your pet's results can and will vary. Message and data rates may apply. Studies available upon request.
Oh, yeah, it's on at Matt Blatt Nissan.
If you're currently stuck in a loan or lease, AJ the Trade Man can get you released. Matt Blatt Nissan.com. It's on at Matt Blatt Nissan on the Black Horse Pike in Harper Township.
You're listening to The Sports Bash with Mike Gill on 97.3 ESPN and the free mobile app.
Josh and Nick here on 97.3 ESPN, wrapping up the 3 o'clock hour. Squeeze in some more of your texts here at 609-403-0973. Your DMs into 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank. See how Jeff from Ocean State says, will the Sixers even get out of the second round if they are a 4-seed or lower? Jeff, I think it's styles make fights. I think that it depends on so many variables. You know, Milwaukee has been a dumpster fire since Doc Rivers took over. They have not gotten better. They've gotten worse in some ways. Milwaukee might not even be the 3 seed by the time you get to the postseason, right? You know, what if the Pacers go on a hot streak and it's the Sixers versus the Pacers, 6 versus 3, or Sixers and Pacers 4 versus 5, and the Knicks end up in the 3 seeded, Milwaukee drops down to the 6. You know, if you get a team like the Pacers, you could certainly have a chance to beat them in the first round and take out Milwaukee if they move up. Or the team that concerns me is Boston. I think Boston is just the worst matchup for Philadelphia. The Knicks are interesting because I don't know what the Knicks are right now. I feel like they are a Jalen Brunson supernova right now, just shooting across the sky. But that might not win you a bunch of games in the postseason. So it depends on who you face in the second round. If you face Milwaukee or you face Indiana, you might have a chance to beat those teams. But the Celtics, probably not. The Knicks, I don't think so. The Cavs, we'll wait and see. Also on the text board, Willie from Taste of Love Food Truck says, I agree with you 100%. The Sixers are going to have to make a trade for a big man of some sort, just keep our heads above water. Well, Willie, you could let me know, is Andre Drummond a good enough big man that Keith Pompey was recommending? So for you, Willie, is that good enough? Might not be for some people. Rich from the Crest says, Josh, maybe the bigger question is who would trade with the Sixers and give them a shot at staying afloat until Joel gets back? Well, anybody's, well, you're going to give them what they want. Rich from the Crest. I think that's a little bit more of a simple of an answer. It's if you're willing to give up draft picks, if you're willing to give up expiring contracts, I think those are the type of assets that get teams to have a conversation. I don't think a team necessarily wants Robert Covington, Marcus Morris, and a first-round pick, but they are expiring contracts, and you can give a first-round pick for somebody. It has value. It's something to get. And I think a team that is clearly a seller is going to give the Sixers a chance to stay afloat. You know, I mentioned the Chicago because they are plummeting down the standings right now. No Zach LaVine means that they are not going to make the postseason. They are DOA, dead on arrival in the postseason. All right, coming up, we'll get more of your texts on the other side. Plus, football at 4. Jeff Mosher joins us for a second straight day here on 97.3 ESPN.
Sunday, the San Francisco 49ers and the Kansas City Chiefs meet in Super Bowl LVIII. Hi, this is Scott Graham. Join me and the rest of our Westwood One crew from Las Vegas for all the action. The Chiefs are trying to defend their title and win a 3rd Lombardi trophy in the last 5 seasons. But the Niners are hoping to avenge their loss in Super Bowl 54. If it's Super Bowl 58, it's right here
on 97.3 ESPN.
The 2024 Hercules Tires MAC Basketball Championships are returning to Atlantic City's iconic Jim Whalen Boardwalk Hall for the 5th consecutive year, March 12th to the 16th, featuring 22 men's and women's teams. The tournament is fun for the family, featuring a band jam, Spirit Squad showcase, Kids Day, and mascot game. Don't miss the chance to be a part of the action to see who will cut down the nets and earn a spot in the big dance. Visit macsports.com/basketball for more information.
Timmy, everybody. Great job. Next up, we have Samantha.
10 times better performance can make a big difference. Castrol Edge Motor Oil gives your engine 10 times better high temperature performance. Castrol Edge, better oil for maximum performance. Now through March 4th, get 5 quarts of Castrol Edge or Edge High Mileage Full Synthetic and an oil filter for $36.99, only at AutoZone.
Claim based on Sequence 3H test versus API SP test limits.
A healthy weight, more energy, and smooth, regular bowel movements. 3 things everyone strives for.
It's me, Chuck Norris. There's one really important thing we don't talk about enough. Our health, achy joints, digestive issues, weight gain, and fatigue. We're told these are normal signs of aging. So working with a team of health experts, we came up with Morning Kick.
Morning Kick is a revolutionary formula combining 10 different supplements in one. Probiotics that help you lose weight, prebiotics for digestion, superfoods for muscles and joints, and several of the most powerful anti-aging supplements on earth. It'll help you feel youthful, energized, focused, and help manage stress.
Anybody can achieve great health regardless of their age.
Go to roundhouseprovisions.com. Use code SUPPORT or text SUPPORT to 511-511 and claim 40% off today.
Every purchase comes with our 90-day money-back guarantee.
Text SUPPORT to 511-511. Morning Kick. These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Tax fees may apply.
At Bet365, we don't do ordinary. We believe that every sport should be epic. Every basket, every game, every point, every play. From the moments that are legendary to the ones that fly under the radar. Whether it's a three-pointer at the buzzer to tie the game, or a player goes 2 for 2 at the foul line. Whatever the sport, whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. 21 plus only, must be present in New Jersey. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Terms and conditions apply.
For the ones who get it done, the most important part is the one you need now. And the best partner is the one who can deliver. That's why millions of maintenance and repair pros trust Grainger, because we have professional-grade supplies for every industry, even hard-to-find products. And we have same-day pickup and next-day delivery on most orders. But most importantly, we have an unwavering commitment to help keep you up and running. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
If you only have a 401k, you're not getting the most for retirement.
Wait, what?
Add a Robinhood IRA on top, then they'll boost it by 3%.
You can do that?
And if you transfer in any retirement account, you get 3% on top of that.
Is there a limit to the match?
No limit. Robinhood Gold gets you the biggest contribution match of any IRA on the market. Sign up for Robinhood Gold at Robinhood.com/boost by April 30th. Subscription fees apply.
Investing involves risk. 3% match requires gold for 1 year from first match. Must keep IRA for 5 years. Match on transfers subject to additional terms and conditions. Robinhood Financial LLC, member SIPC.
For your big game party, you better pop in to Total Wine and More for a guaranteed win. We've got thousands of bottles down every aisle, and prices so low they're gonna make you smile. Ask our helpful guides for a recommendation to add some spirits and wine to your beverage station. Discover something new and let the fun begin. Come on down to Total Wine and More for a guaranteed win.
Drink responsibly, B21. Are you already doing digital advertising sales? Do you know all about targeted display, social media marketing, the latest in SEM and behavioral targeting? If so, you could be Townsquare Media's new advertising sales star. We're looking for passionate sales professionals to join our media and digital advertising team. If consulting and connecting local businesses with their ideal audience for growth sounds exciting, let's have a conversation about you working for Townsquare Media. The right career choice is all about timing, and right now is the perfect time to join our team as an advertising account executive. Our comp package is amazing with unlimited earning potential, including base salary, 401k match, and more, along with world-class training and plenty of room for growth. If you're competitive, driven, and have the ability to communicate great ideas, we want to hear from you. Reach out to Michael Rubel, Market President, at 609-910-5249, or visit careers.townsquaremedia.com. Townsquare Media is an equal opportunity employer.
South Jersey's official play-by-play home of the Eagles, Sixers, and Flyers.
Let's go!
97.3 ESPN, WENJ, WENJ HD, Millville, Atlantic City. 97.3 ESPN presents The Sports Bash with Mike Gill. It's time for Football at 4, powered by the Inside the Birds podcast.
Just hungry to bring back another Lombardi to Philly. The fans deserve it. Our team deserves it. Culture begs for it.
Now live from inside the Matt Blatt Kia studios, this is Football at 4.
Football at 4, powered by the Inside the Birds podcast, and of course brought to you by Bet365. Whatever the sport, whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Of course, they bring you Football at 4, powered by the Inside the Birds podcast. And of course, the Inside the Birds podcast, InsideTheBirds.com, is run by this man, Jeff Mosher, joining us for a second straight day here on 97.3 ESPN. Jeff, welcome back in 2 days in a row. How you feeling?
I'm feeling good. How are you feeling, Josh?
I'm doing pretty good. Well, you don't usually do the back-to-back, so I'm just checking on you. So,
yeah, I don't. I think I can handle it. I'm a pro. I've done it before, so I think we're going to be all right. But if I have any slip up, I'm sure you'll help me along the way and let me know.
Yeah, I'll give you some guidance. Maybe let the dog out to go to the bathroom or something while you're at it. So
it's part of the show.
Oh, it's part of the show. Okay, my bad. Jeff, here's what I want to start with you, because one of the things you and Adam talked about on the pod on Monday and Friday was about the coaches. And for a lot of Eagle fans, this whole process has really drug out. I think a lot of people are not used to the new schedule for coaching and interviews and hires in the system. And seeing the way these coaches have slowly matriculated in, big picture, what is your take? And we just lost Jeff Mosher on the phone line. We're just going to get him asking the question. The question, jerk. Hey, buddy. Well, hopefully Jeff will realize his phone connection dropped and he'll join us back. There we go. All right, we got Jeff back in here on 97.3. Do I got you now, Jeff? Do you hear me now?
Sorry about that. I can hear you. Sorry about that. Technology is not the easiest thing to deal with sometimes. You know that.
Oh, I know. Technology is not always my friend. Me and technology have a love-hate relationship. What I was going to ask you before technology decided to cut us off was, Jeff, what is your big picture takeaway about how this whole Eagles refurbishing of the coaching staff has gone?
Josh, experience at a variety of levels, not just offensive and defensive coordinator, where you have Vic Fangio, who's been a long time defensive coordinator and head coach in this league, but you've got his staff, right? I mean, they're bringing in the DB's coach, Christian Parker, who has led a room. He has been a defensive backs coach before. This will not be his first rodeo there. Clint Hurt, the defensive line coach, same thing. He's been a defensive line coach for a long time. He's been a defensive coordinator, so that's a lot of great experience there. Kellen Moore has been a coordinator for 5 years now. Has had 2 number 1 offenses. So experience, proven resume. I think, it's difficult for coaches to replace coaches who are lost. And last year, Eagles had a tough time losing Gannon after the Super Bowl, losing Nick Rallis. Then they made the decision to go with Sean Desai, and that cost them Denard Wilson. So they lost a lot of really good coaches. Shane Steichen, of course, lost there. And then with Brian Johnson getting promoted to offensive coordinator, they promoted Alex Tanney to quarterbacks coach, but he had never led a room as well. So when you look at this coaching staff, which is still rounding into form, and there might be some more changes, we'll have to see the totality of it all when it's done. But you can see that there's far more experience, veteran savvy on this coaching staff so far than there was last year. That should make a difference if, when you look at the Super Bowl, right, Josh, and look at the 49ers. They lost D'Amico Ryans, and they went out and got Steve Wilks to be their defensive coordinator. Steve Wilks had been a head coach. He's been a defensive coordinator, a successful one for quite a while. You look at Andy Reid. When this thing really started for Andy Reid, when they became Super Bowl champions, he knew he needed to get better in the coaching staff, and he went with Steve Spagnuolo, who's done an excellent job after a couple of years of having Bob Sutton in a 3-4 defense out there that just wasn't working. So you look at those two teams, and you look about the importance it is to get guys on your staff that if you're not familiar with them, you're familiar with their work, and you know that their work has succeeded elsewhere.
So you mentioned about these guys' experience and how many years they've been coaching. I think most people know about Fangio. Let's go to the offense for a minute, okay? Kellen Moore and now Doug Nussmeier. What do those two guys who used to play quarterback, for you, what is the difference between those two former quarterbacks and the former quarterback who was here before, Brian Johnson?
Well, I mean, there's the small picture view of that and the big picture view. So let's start with the big picture view. The difference is Kellen Moore and, by extension, Doug Nussmeier are going to run the offense that they've been running in Dallas and LA, and they're going to implement that here, and it's their offense. Whereas Brian Johnson was the play caller for an offense that was largely influenced by Nick Sirianni, and as they would tell you, was really an offense that was of the many, not of the one, right? So that to me is a difference there. And I'm not trying to absolve Brian Johnson. I'm just simply saying I don't know that we ever really saw the quote-unquote Brian Johnson offense. I think we saw Brian Johnson trying to run Nick Sirianni's offense. So that'll be a big difference with Kellen Moore having the autonomy that he has, and Doug Nussmeier having coached under Kellen Moore now for several years. And then the second part of that is that Nussmeier has been a tight ends coach to a quarterbacks coach. I imagine his next job will be offensive coordinator. He is not a young first-time position coach the way Alex Tanney was last year. So that goes back to my point on experience, and when you're talking about leading a room, you have guys who are used to doing.
So what does that mean for Jalen Hurts? Because a lot of people feel like Jalen Hurts took a step back. He regressed. He did not have, and I think anybody with two eyes can tell, he did not have a good season. He had a solid year, but he didn't have a MVP runner-up caliber like the year before. So how do these guys with their experience, how does that change things for Jalen?
That's a question that's left to be answered, Josh. I can sit here and tell you that Kellen Moore is going to have better answers against the blitz because he has throughout his career. I mean, I can tell you that Dak Prescott had some of his best seasons under Kellen Moore, so therefore Jalen Hurts will have the opportunity to do so as well. But I can't. Younger reporter me probably would have said that. Older, experienced reporter me says, let's see how it all works out, because it doesn't always work out the way you imagine it. First and foremost, you have to wonder how the offense is going to look with Kellen Moore. If he does what he does, that involves a lot of shifting, that involves a lot of motion. We have not seen that from the Eagles offense much under the Nick Sirianni era, right? And we don't know if that's something that Jalen Hurts likes or doesn't like. So that is something, and we don't know if it's something he's comfortable with or not comfortable with. Kellen Moore's offense has a lot of under center. Eagles are not under center very often. They started to do it last year when things were starting to go a little bit south because they wanted to try to be less predictable. Okay. So we've seen them do it, but can it be something that is incorporated into the offense more? And it isn't going to be something that Jalen Hurts is familiar with. So we have an analytics reporter named Sam Finkel who did a really good job today on InsideTheBirds.com of breaking down Kellen Moore's offensive tendencies, philosophies from a data standpoint and what the data shows about Moore's offenses compared to the league average, what their pass run ratio is compared to the league average, and also what its success against the blitz is compared to the league average, and also compared to the Eagles over the last few years. So you can look at those numbers and say, okay, well then they're going to do this, but you can't do that because you just don't know how everybody's going to react and acclimate to the offensive concepts.
Talking with Jeff Mosher, Eagles insider from the Inside the Birds podcast, InsideTheBirds.com, at Jeff P. Mosher on the Twitter X platform, here on Tuesday edition of Football at 4 on 97.3 ESPN. Josh Eddick filling in for Mike Gill on a Tuesday afternoon. Jeff, with that being said, could it be also said that you mentioned about Jalen and the motion, right? What is Jalen comfortable with? Could it also be said that Jalen is a professional quarterback and he should be able to adjust to some of these things that are going to be asked of him?
100%. Now, theoretically, we could say he should be able to. Doesn't always happen. We could go back to Andre Dillard and say, hey, you're a professional. You should be able to play right tackle, even though you've played left tackle all your life. But when Andre Dillard says, well, that's kind of like, writing with your left hand if you're a right-hander, and we remember how uncomfortable he looked for a while they were playing right tackle, it becomes an easier said than done thing. You can't force someone to be comfortable with something that they're not comfortable with, but you can certainly expect that this will be something that gets repped and practiced all throughout OTAs, throughout summer training camp, and everything. And the coaches are going to see, does Jalen take to this well? Does Jalen take to that well? Can we go under center more? Can we run more motion? Some quarterbacks, Trey Thomas has talked about this a lot with us, Josh, and this may give you an example of how things can be easier said than done. But Trey Thomas's experience with quarterbacks is there are some that just get a little bit itchy when they see color crossing their face. So think about blitz pickup, right? If your quarterback has a running back to his left in a shotgun, running back standing to the left, and the running back has to cross the quarterback's eyes to pick up a extra rusher from the right side, that can make a quarterback, instead of staying patient in the pocket, sort of bail because automatically sees color crossing in space. All right. So that's an unintended consequence of something that is schematically good and schematically sound. So it's easy. That's why I said it's sort of easy to say, hey, motion could be great and it could give you all sorts of tells and it can confuse the defense. But all of a sudden, if it's mentally tough or it gives your quarterback mental gymnastics, then that's not a good thing, right? So it all remains to be seen.
What's interesting, Jeff, is that you mentioned about, what you're doing to the quarterback, but also it's about what you're doing to the other team, right? How you're putting that quarterback in position to be successful. And, one of the comments that was made about an hour ago, and I wanted to ask you about is, because I had a former defensive coordinator, Paul Gunther, on an hour ago, Jeff, and he talked about, one of the things that differentiates guys like Kyle Shanahan and Andy Reid is the fact that even though you know what's coming, you still might not know what's coming because those guys have been so good at taking what they do and changing the window dressing, changing how it looks. So they're still running the similar offenses, but they're adjusting to how they display it. So how does something like that impact a team like the Eagles, where now you have people like Kellen Moore who have more experience than Brian Johnson as saying, hey, this is what we run, but we're going to make it look different, Jalen?
Yeah, I mean, imagine with all the experience Kellen Moore has, plus being a Cowboys coordinator, he's pretty experienced with teams in the division, even though coaches change, there'll be a lot of personnel that he remembers and is familiar with. You don't feel like there's going to have to be an adaptation period. Well, I remember the first 3, 4, 5 weeks of the season, we would say, hey, look, Brian Johnson's learning here. It's calling plays for the first time. He's adapting to his new role, and every week is going to be a learning experience for him. And not that you ever stop learning, but Kellen Moore is not going to be learning on the fly. I mean, this is something that he's done, and he should know from week one what he wants to do and what he can do with his Eagles offense. And let's face it, Josh, he walked into a pretty darn good offense as far as how it's constructed right now and the playmakers and the personnel. And he knows that's another advantage. He knows this personnel. He's coached against it. So it's less of a period of acclimation in my mind because he kind of has that foundation already built.
A couple more for Jeff Mosher from the Inside the Birds podcast, InsideTheBirds.com, at Jeff P. Mosher on the Twitter X platform, here on Football at 4 on 97.3 ESPN. Jeff, talk to the audience about, for you, when you see that guys like DK McDonald and Joe Casper are going to be coming to Vic Fangio in Philadelphia. What does that say to you about how you expect this defense, which really was the biggest flaw for this team last year at the end of the day? What do those coaches bring with Fangio to Philly?
And knowledge of his system. So you need that trickle down. You need your coaching philosophy to be in place from your coordinator, and then you need your position coaches to be able to coach up to the standard that your coordinator sets. If you go back to last year, I spoke to some people who I would call our defensive sources or have their knowledge on the defensive side of the ball, and they were sort of confused by some of the, say, like leverages and techniques that Eagles were using in the secondary compared to the coverage that they were playing. For example, if you're playing a one shell, you only have one safety deep, but you've got both of your outside corners playing an outside leverage and funneling the receivers inside. What kind of stress are you putting on a safety where you're funneling both receivers from opposite sides of the field toward the safety? It's toward one safety. So there was always some discombobulation, the way it was explained to me, with how the Eagles are playing the defense. And remember, Sean Desai had taken over, and he inherited some coaches. He brought in some of his own. And then we all saw the disaster of Matt Patricia trying to then call plays for a Fangio scheme and crowbar his Belichick concepts into it. It was a disaster, a beautiful disaster, unfortunately for Eagles fans. You shouldn't have that issue here. You've got position coaches who have already worked with the coordinator, who know what his system is, who know what they have to do, what techniques and leverages will be expected of them to coach, the way to attack the ball if it's on the run, and their gap schemes, because of Vic Fangio already working with these guys. The message is there. They'll have all of training camp, all of OTAs, to have that message trickle down and then coach to the players. You don't have to worry about an identity crisis in my mind, because you have uniformity and solidarity among that staff.
So with that uniformity, that solidarity, that coaching, Jeff, who on the Eagles defense do you think is going to benefit from that consistent message?
And Josh, I think everybody, I think the defensive line had some real issues last year with gap integrity and playing the run, things like that, even rushing the passer. I wouldn't just say the front six. You had linebackers running into the back of defensive linemen. It looks like they were not on the same page as to what gaps that they were supposed to be defending correctly, and two gapping here and one gapping there. So I think that's going to should be rectified with Clint Hurt and I guess whoever comes in and coaches the linebackers, we'll see what they do there. But and then of course on the back end, I mean, you and I both know this, Josh. It's going to be personnel related. These coaches aren't miracle workers. They're not just going to come in and produce a top 5 defense if you gave them the same personnel as last year. But if you give them players who are familiar with the scheme, or players who are good enough players that from the first day of camp till the first day of the season, first day of OTA till the first day of season, understand what the message is and can carry it out, then you'll have a team that's playing much more together than last year's team.
Jeff, before I let you go, with that being said about personnel, obviously one of the things you and Adam talked about on Monday's pod was about the different guys who are going to be free agents. Is there a guy, and there's a lot of free agents for the Eagles right now, but is there a guy that, if Howie Roseman called Jeff Mosher right now and said, Jeff, if I got to prioritize one of these guys to bring back, who is it?
We did feel that on the offensive side that DeAndre Swift, we would like to see what he can do in Kellen Moore's offense. You saw what Tony Pollard was able to do a couple of years ago as far as running the ball and catching the ball. Austin Eckler was hurt this past year, but he, was able to get the ball when he was healthy. I think that Kellen Moore's influence on this offense we could see really be how he should have been used, which is as a guy who doesn't run as much as he catches the ball, which is sort of, he had an opposite career trajectory this last year, right? I mean, he set a career high in rushing yards, and there were a couple of games where he was like a bell cow carrying the ball 20, 25 times, which is not what you thought he was going to be here. You thought he was going to, carry the ball, but in a backfield with Gainwell and Rashad Penny going into the year, and then be more of a weapon in the pass game. And he really had a career low in receiving yards. So if they can find a way to bring back DeAndre Swift at a workable number for him, we know that, paying running backs can be iffy for the Eagles, depending on who that running back is. But if he's back, I think he can be a more dynamic weapon and a better used weapon in the Eagles offense.
He's Jeff Mosher. Follow him on the Twitter X platform at Jeff P. Mosher. Check out all of his coverage and the guys from the Inside the Birds group at InsideTheBirds.com. And tomorrow morning, Jeff and Andrew DeCecco will be doing the pod that drops tomorrow morning, Inside the Birds podcast, wherever you get your podcast. Jeff, appreciate you pinch hitting today for Adam. We'll talk soon.
Have a good one. Good job pinch hitting for Mike.
I'm doing my best. You know that. Josh Hennick here on the Sports Bash here on 97.3 ESPN and Football at 4. As always, is being brought to you here on the Sports Bash by Bet365. Whatever the sport, whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. All right, still to come. More your texts at 609-403-0973. I still have a ton of you guys to get to asking questions about the Sixers. Plus, I'll give you some more of my thoughts on the Eagles coaching staff, because there's one element that I've heard now, and I'm kind of tying a thread together from John McMullen to Jeff Mosher and including there Paul Gunther. So you got two different Eagles and NFL reporters and a former NFL coach. There was a common thread that all three men have said today that I can't let go. Like, it's ringing in my ears right now. And if you don't know what that thread is, I'll tell you what it is next. There is a commonality of what they have all said today and what it means for the Eagles next season. I'm Josh Hennig, filling for Mike Gill on 97.3 ESPN FM. Don't forget to download the 97.3 ESPN mobile app. It's free, thanks to First Bank of Sea Isle City.
We have the perfect remedy for sitting in traffic. The Sports Bash with Mike Gill on 97.3 ESPN.
Absolutely the best.
And the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app.
Did you miss year-end pricing? Not if you get to Matt Black Nissan. Year-end savings are extended. That means you can buy a brand new Nissan with $299 down and just $299 per month. That's less than a week of groceries.
Oh yeah, it's on at Matt Black Nissan.
Brand new 2024 Nissan Versa S for under $20 grand. And you can own it for just $299 per month. This is not a lease, program, or used car. Plus, AJ the Trade Man wants to buy your vehicle today. So you can drive your new Nissan, even with 0 down and 0% financing on every new Rogue or Frontier in stock, but only at MattBlackNissan.com. Rate qualifications exist with approved credit. $27.78 per thousand financed. 2023 Nissan Rogues and Frontiers. Not all will qualify. Go to MattBlackNissan.com for complete details or call 844-917-4758. Price includes all costs to be paid by consumer, except for licensing, registration, and taxes. VIN RL 835598. Versa S MSRP 19465. 75 months at 5.64%. It's on at Matt Black Nissan on the Black Horse Pike. Carver Township.
Dog parents are loving Dr. Marty's Nature's Blend Premium Dog Food.
The way she acts and the way she moves, it's just so much better. She's like a puppy again. It's unbelievable.
Dr. Marty's Nature's Blend is a freeze-dried raw food made with 0 artificial preservatives, so it's naturally shelf-stable with no mess, freezer, or fridge required. Plus, it's full of premium turkey, beef, salmon, and meat your dog will love.
We started with Nature's Blend. She's happy. She sleeps well. She's energetic. I am just delighted with this product.
When given the choice, Nature's Blend and Amazon's #1 bestseller in dry dog food, 29 out of 30 dogs chose Nature's Blend first.
I'm
so confident your dog will love it, your order is backed with a 90-day guarantee.
Save up to 54% off Nature's Blend and get a free bag of delicious beef liver treats. Go to drmartypets.com/deal or text DEAL to 511-511. Text DEAL to 511-511. All pets are unique. Your pet's results can and will vary. Message and data rates may apply. Studies available upon request.
My friend and I are taking a trip to Mexico this year, but neither of us speak Spanish. So we downloaded Babbel and started learning Spanish fast.
Want to start getting conversational in another language in as little as 3 weeks? Babbel's quick 10-minute lessons were designed by language experts to be the most efficient and effective way to learn a new language.
¿Cómo te llamas?
¿Cómo te llamas?
Babbel, language for life. Celebrating 10 million subscriptions sold. Go to Babbel.com and start learning a new language today. That's BABBEL.com.
Progressive presents an ad from Mom.
Hello? Is it on? Oh, okay. Bundle your home and auto insurance with Progressive and get protection round the clock. Round the clock? Does this generation even understand what round the clock means? But don't go, I'm just saying, because don't come to me when they ask for to do this over because the kids won't get it.
Get round-the-clock protection when you bundle and save with Progressive. It's easier than getting your mom to make this radio ad. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Not available in all states or situations.
Denise has been playing jazz for 40 years. Last concert, one of the musicians fell sick with RSV. Respiratory syncytial virus, or RSV, is a highly contagious virus that can lead to breathing problems. This time, she's choosing to help protect herself with Pfizer's RSV vaccine, Abrysvo. Abrysvo is a vaccine for the prevention of lower respiratory tract disease caused by respiratory syncytial virus, RSV, in adults 60 years of age and older. Abrysvo is not for everyone and may not protect all who receive the vaccine. Don't get Abrysvo if you've had a severe allergic reaction to its ingredients. People with a weakened immune system may have a decreased response to Abrysvo. The most common side effects are tiredness, headache, pain at the injection site, and muscle pain. Ask your pharmacist or doctor about Pfizer's RSV vaccine, Abrysvo, respiratory syncytial virus vaccine. For full prescribing information, please call 1-844-989-7284 or visit abrysvo.com. Brought to you by Pfizer.
Timmy, everybody. Great job. Next up, we have Samantha.
10 times better performance can make a big difference. Castrol Edge Motor Oil gives your engine 10 times better high-temperature performance. Castrol Edge, better oil for maximum performance. Now through March 4th, get 5 quarts of Castrol Edge or Edge High Mileage Full Synthetic and an oil filter for $36.99, only at AutoZone.
Claim based on Sequence 3 H test versus API SP test limits.
Powered by NJM. No jingles or mascots, just great insurance. This is the Town Square, New Jersey Info and Weather Network.
The Eagles open next season in Brazil. This is Danny Ryan with your South Jersey Sports Center. NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell announced big news during his press conference last night that your Philadelphia Eagles will be playing in Sao Paulo, Brazil in Week 1 as the home team on Friday night of the NFL's opening weekend. In Flyers news, the Orange and Black return to action tonight after 9 days off in a road battle with the Florida Panthers. Listen live right here on 97.3 ESPN. Coverage starts at 7. In Sixers news, Joel Embiid successfully underwent the procedure on his left lateral meniscus this morning and will be reevaluated by the team in just 4 weeks. The Sixers look to get back on track tomorrow night against the Golden State Warriors after losing 6 of their past 7 games. Listen to the game live right here on 97.3 ESPN. Coverage starts tomorrow night at 7:30. For more Eagles, Sixers, Phillies, and Flyers, download our free mobile app. Your forecast is next.
The big game is coming up, and with it can come big betting losses. The Council on Compulsive Gambling of New Jersey reminds you to bet within your means, not beyond them. Questions? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit 800gambler.org.
From the Town Square, New Jersey Info and Weather Network, I'm Chief Meteorologist Dan Zero. Tomorrow will be about 5 degrees warmer than today. Some clouds may kiss the coast tonight into tomorrow. We'll see a low temperature overnight around 30. Tomorrow's high 45. We'll call it mostly sunny with a slight chance of a flurry. Warming up even more on Thursday to 50 with partly sunny skies. A mix of clouds and sun on Friday with a chance of a sprinkle in there too. High Friday 54. Get weather 24/7 wherever you are. Download our free mobile app today.
New Jersey packs a lot of wow into every winter getaway.
We got wows to knock your ski socks off, wows to warm your soul, and wows to blow your mind. New Jersey, it's one wow after another. Find your wow at visitnj.org. New Jersey, little state, lot of.
It's the Sports Bash with Mike Gill
And I am the voice of the voiceless.
on 97.3 ESPN and the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app.
Josh and Nick here on 97.3 ESPN FM, the 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Seattle. We'll get back to your text in just a bit at 609-403-0973. A lot of questions still coming in about the Sixers and the Eagles and all kinds of stuff. But before I get that, I told you guys for the break, there is a direct thread between three different guests we had on today. And that direct thread is you heard John McMullen say it in the 2 o'clock hour. If you've been listening for the full 3 hours, first of all, thank you for listening for a full 3 hours to me, filling in for Mike Gill on 97.3 ESPN and the 97.3 ESPN mobile app, which is free thanks to First Bank of Seattle City. But John McMullen brought this topic up in hour number one. Paul Gunther, former NFL defensive coordinator, brought this up in hour number two. Jeff Mosher, you just heard bring this up about 15 minutes ago here in hour number three of the show. And what they all had in common in this direct thread across the board is the importance of coaches who have experience. You heard Jeff bring up the fact that, you're not bringing in people, for example, like Brian Johnson, who don't have a lot of play calling experience. You're bringing a guy in Kellen Moore who's been a play caller in a coordinator in this league for 5 years. And he's bringing in with him a coach in Doug Nussmeier, who has coached at the collegiate and professional level for almost 20 years. As Nussmeier actually has been 20 years. Nussmeier has been good, if you include his time in the Canadian Football League. And on the Eagles defense, you don't have a guy in Sean Desai who is a disciple of a discipline. He has his own system as Fangio. It's not, hey, this is like, second hand, third hand, fourth hand, recall of something. No, this is a direct source of a defense. It's Vic Fangio. And Vic Fangio has a lot of experience. And you heard Paul Gunther talk about in 3 o'clock hour how important it is for these coaches that have shown a longer period of being able to make adjustments, being able to make the right calls, situations. He mentioned about how he said, Paul Gunther, how impressive Steve Spagnuolo is, that he has had this long amount of time as a coach in the league, about how it's not normal for a guy like Steve Spagnuolo to keep having this level of success in the NFL as he has, and how impressive it is for a guy like Andy Reid, who keeps changing the window dressing and keeps throwing in new ideas. And it gets back to the two main themes for the Eagles. Because John McMullen said in the first hour how, Nick Sirianni can say he wants fresh ideas, but Nick Sirianni also says it's my offense. It's our offense. It's the team who has, it's not Kellen Moore's offense. It's his offense, team's offense. But you're having a system or an offense is useless without the experience and the knowledge of how to make that offense or that system execute and function properly. It is no small thing that the Eagles have gone heavy into the experience department for their coaches, because it is a direct contrast from last year. Last year, the only coaches with real experience were coaches who didn't have a lot in common with the guys who were calling the plays. It's not like Alex Tanney and Brian Johnson, Alex Tanney, the quarterback coach, Brian Johnson, the offense coordinator, had a lot of common ground in terms of the offensive scheme, except for their direct experience working with Nick Sirianni. Sean Desai and Matt Patricia came from completely different defensive philosophies. Now, you have a coach that's not just experienced, but you're streamlining it. You know, I know Paul would never say this, directly to like insult anyone, but Paul Guenther, the reason why he got a a defensive coordinator job in the NFL was because he showed over time, working in Marvin Lewis in Cincinnati, that he was able to elevate up the coaching ranks and be trusted and depended on to be a coordinator. Well, you look at a guy like Kellen Moore. Why is he bringing along Nussmeier? He's bringing Nussmeier because Nussmeier has put in the time with Kellen Moore to show him that he can do this. A guy like Joe Casper has shown he's put in the time with Vic Fangio to get this coaching gig with him. So what do all these guys have in common? What is the common thread between all of these guys? The common thread between all of these guys, between all these coaches, between everyone you've heard from today, experience matters. Understanding how to do the job matters. It is a huge part of the bigger picture. When you are an NFL team and you have the capability, you have the proficiency, the experience at making adjustments. And as you heard Paul Guenther say an hour ago here on 97.3 ESPN, Josh Hennig filling in for Mike Gill on a Tuesday afternoon, the coach that is able to make the adjustments and the team that is capable of putting themselves in a position to take advantage of the other team's weaknesses is going to be the team that wins the game. And so for the Eagles, it is a massive upgrade. Now, yes, Jeff Mosher has said, and so did John McMullen in the 2 o'clock hour, the players still have to go do their job. You still have to get the players to do the job and execute the schemes and the coaching. But guess what? Those players need the coaches to put them in position to be successful as well. All right, let's get back to the text at 609-403-0973. I still have a lot of text to catch up with from the conversation with the Sixers earlier. Texture chimes in a little bit earlier. Reggie from Salem follows up and says, what about calling the Memphis Grizzlies about Marcus Smart or the Golden State Warriors about Klay Thompson? Obviously, there's tensions brewing in Golden State. Yeah, for those who didn't see, Klay Thompson didn't play the final 4 minutes of the game last night, and it was a bit of an awkward thing to watch. Watching a guy who helped an organization win championships basically be relegated to the bench. It was weird to watch. And, if you're a team like Golden State, do you look at Klay Thompson, a guy who is in the final year of his contract, and say to him, you know what, Klay, maybe you'd be better off somewhere else. We can trade you and get something in return for you. We'd love to have you back next year. But if we can get some assets for you, we might just have to move you. Now, I don't know if Klay Thompson solves a lot of your problems for a couple reasons. One, because part of the reason why Klay Thompson is in a bad situation in Golden State is because he's not the Klay Thompson he used to be. So you're not getting prime Klay Thompson. You're not even getting slightly past the mountain Klay Thompson. You're getting a guy who's going to be turning 34 years old, who is shooting his worst three-point percentage of his NBA career. Now, it's still 37%, but it's the worst percentage of his career. And he's shooting 2 less threes per game than last year. Klay Thompson has not averaged less than 20 points per game in any season in 10 years. 2013, 2014 season. Furthermore, Klay Thompson, he's not the same athlete he used to be. Okay, so his defense has taken a bit of a dip. And playing 30 minutes per game, there are only, and again, according to Basketball Reference, there are only 2 times in his career where he has played fewer minutes per game. The one year, he was coming back from an injury. Another year, he was a rookie. So, the idea of Klay Thompson, Reggie, and Salem might be a better idea than actually acquiring Klay Thompson. Marcus Smart, I don't know what Memphis is doing. I like the idea of Marcus Smart, but like Keith Pompey said an hour ago here on 97.3, I think that's a guy that takes touches away from Tyrese Maxey. And I don't think that is a positive. Vernon in Mays Landing says, trade for Mikal Bridges. He plays defense. He can rebound and score. A great team player, very underrated. Well, Vernon in Mays Landing, the problem with your theory is you're saying that like Philadelphia can get Mikal Bridges. You really think that the Nets are going to trade with you again and they're just going to give up Mikal Bridges? And for what exactly? I think it's very, very... I ran it through the NBA trade simulator. I play NBA 2K answer. That's not a real world answer. Mikal Bridges is under contract for 2 more years with the Nets. And unless you're willing to give up all your first round picks and Tobias Harris and take on money in return from the Nets, and I have to double check who exactly on that team is even a tradable asset, because Mikal Bridges makes almost half the money that Tobias Harris does. And Tobias Harris's value is purely because he's an expiring contract. Yeah, I don't think that's a doable deal. A for effort, though, Vernon and Mays Landing. Anonymous texter asks, what's my my Cody Rhodes or Rock versus Roman Reigns view for WrestleMania? I didn't know that I was the wrestling guy. I didn't know I evolved into that, but here I am for that. All right, really quick. So I told you guys the last time I filled up for Mike Gill that I expected Cody Rhodes and CJ Punk to showdown, and the winner of that was probably going to develop an alliance with The Rock against Reigns. Well, you saw that on Raw, or was it SmackDown? I'm losing track of which show is which because I don't watch nothing live anymore because of the way my life has been. My view is that it's going to be The Rock versus Reigns at WrestleMania, and it's going to be Cody Rhodes going against Seth Rollins, and Rhodes is probably going to win the title. This is probably going to be a big build-up moment. It's going to be an emotional thing because of who his dad, Dusty Rhodes, is. And there's going to be an alliance to the whole thing. You know, Rhodes and Rock, because of their family's history. You know, it's like the lineage versus the non-lineage guys, right? It's the Rock and Cody Rhodes with the wrestling lineage, and Seth Rollins is the guy who says he's the man, but he doesn't have the pedigree of being the man. And, it'll be some sort of like, CM Punk won't wrestle at WrestleMania, but his arm will be well enough at WrestleMania for him to show up and probably be a distraction for Seth Rollins. And then, it'll be like an enemy. My enemy is my friend deal. And then The Rock will go against Reigns, and he'll end the streak of Reigns. And then The Rock will have to bow out for some reason. And then the WWE will have some sort of like, tournament of champions for the vacant belt that The Rock took from Reigns kind of thing. There you go. I just wrote you the whole script. Monday, Marcus, Danny, AC. I'll get to your guys' text in just a bit. 609-403-0973. And your DMs coming in the 973 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Seattle. Josh Hennig filling in for Mike Gill on Tuesday afternoon on the Sports Bash.
It's Sixers Warriors tomorrow night on 97.3 ESPN with the voice of the Sixers, Tom McGinnis, calling all the exciting play-by-play action.
Maxey will be on the arc for three. It's good. He ties it. Maxey with another three.
Coverage begins at 7:30. It's Sixers basketball all season long on South Jersey's radio home for Philadelphia 76ers basketball.
Here's Furkan with a breakout. Oh, yeah, reverse jam. Portlass twists, turns, dunks it.
97.3 ESPN.
The 2024 Hercules Tires MAC Basketball Championships are returning to Atlantic City's iconic Jim Whalen Boardwalk Hall for the 5th consecutive year, March 12th through the 16th, featuring 22 men's and women's teams. The tournament is fun for the family, featuring a band jam, Spirit Squad showcase, Kids Day, and mascot game. Don't miss the chance to be a part of the action to see who will cut down the nets and earn a spot in the big dance. Visit maxsports.com/basketball for more information.
Progressive covers pets in our auto policy at no extra charge. Now, let's see what your dog has to say.
As a dog, I think Progressive's auto pet policy is... Oh, what is that? That's just my tail. Weird. Anyway, Progressive protects... There it is again. See? This is why I need protection. I'm so distracted. Nope, that is still my tail.
Progressive Auto Insurance covers pets for up to $1,000 in a car accident at no extra charge. And we think your dog would say that's great, too. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Coverage for cats and dogs included with the purchase of collision coverage and subject to policy terms. Not available in all states.
The smarter way to clean your floor. It's not to make the swap. Swiffer Power Mop.
Introducing the new Swiffer Power Mop, the all-in-one tool that gives you a mop and bucket clean in half the time. The solution's built right in, so no heavy bucket, and the pad has hundreds of scrubbing strips to get deep into grout. Don't mop harder, mop smarter.
Swiffer Power Mop. Swiffer Power Mop. Oh, O'Reilly.
You need parts? O'Reilly Auto Parts has parts. Need them fast? We've got fast. No matter what you need, we have thousands of professional parts people doing their part to make sure you have it. Product availability. Just one part that makes O'Reilly stand apart. The professional parts people.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Do you love a good cigar almost as much as your family? Well, maybe that's an exaggeration, but you can find that perfect cigar at Smokers Haven. With 5 New Jersey locations, Smokers Haven has the finest selection of cigars in the area, like Ashton, My Father's, Romeo and Julieta, Monte Cristo, and more. All from the finest tobacco leaves and hand-rolled by the world's finest cigar makers. All locations are fully open. Stop in and let them help you find the perfect cigar to pair with your life. See all they have and their locations at smokershavennj.com.
Dog parents are loving Dr. Marty's Nature's Blend Premium Dog Food.
The way she acts and the way she moves, it's just so much better. She's like a puppy again. It's unbelievable.
Dr. Marty's Nature's Blend is a freeze-dried raw food made with 0 artificial preservatives, so it's naturally shelf-stable with no mess, freezer, or fridge required. Plus, it's full of premium turkey, beef, salmon, and meat your dog will love.
We started with Nature's Blend. She's happy. She sleeps well. She's energetic. I am just delighted with this product.
When given the choice, Nature's Blend and Amazon's #1 bestseller in dry dog food, 29 out of 30 dogs chose Nature's Blend first.
I'm so confident your dog will love it. Your order is backed with a 90-day guarantee.
Save up to 54% off Nature's Blend and get a free bag of delicious beef liver treats. Go to drmartypets.com/deal or text DEAL to 511-511. Text DEAL to 511-511. All pets are unique. Your pet's results can and will vary. Message and data rates may apply. Studies available upon request.
Win
Winter is here, and in South Jersey, that means the cold winds are a-blowing. Whether you need a brand new roof or the gusts off the ocean blew off some shingles, Sea Point Roofing and Siding is here to help. Their expert team ensures that you and your home stay warm and dry, but you won't just get a secure roof, you'll get peace of mind. Sea Point Roofing and Siding is South Jersey's premier roofing company where dependability meets excellence. Visit them at seapointroofing.com today to schedule your free estimate.
Getting your biggest tax refund from Jackson Hewitt can lead to some spirited reactions.
Jackson Hewitt!
Jackson Hewitt is so sure that you'll get your biggest refund that if they don't, you get your money back plus $100.
Jackson Hewitt!
And Jackson Hewitt also guarantees the accuracy of your return for life. Don't just sit there. For your biggest refund guaranteed, walk into a Jackson Hewitt today and dance out Jackson Hewitt! Yeah!
Go to get your game on at the Gallery Bar Booking Games in Ocean Casino Resort this football season. Cheers your favorite drinks while cheering on your favorite team. Get in on the parlay while in the middle of a party. Go for the sports theme and go for the endless screens. Go to the Gallery. Go to Ocean. Go for the win. For more information, visit theoceanac.com. Must be 21 or older to wager or consume alcohol. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
We have the perfect solution for sitting in traffic.
Come with me.
The Sports Bash with Mike Gill on 97.3 ESPN and the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app.
Sports Bash here on 97.3 ESPN. Josh Hennig, Mike Gill. Mike Gill travels up the Super Bowl Radio Row. Mike Gill will be out there the next 3 days. Yes, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, all kinds of great live interviews from Super Bowl Radio Row, all here on 97.3 ESPN. Josh Hennig hanging out with you. Sports Bash brought to you by Bet365. Whatever the sport, whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. All 100 gambler. So get Austin Crowell, Insider from 97.3 ESPN.com, who is going to be coming up around 5:25 is back to the board right now. More you guys see here coming in on 97.3 ESPN mobile app. Monday, Marcus chimes in. What's up, Josh? Every other that I can see what is the timetable for the series discuss with him having his own schedule yesterday called the drop. I like the Drummond idea of even helping score support on Marcus. Yeah, the Drummond edition. All right, here's the thing. You heard Pompey say that once some of these guys come back, that'll fix some of the defensive problem. But you're right. Drummond doesn't fix the scoring. He just stabilizes the big man. That's why, I don't know what the right answer is. I like the idea of Kelly Olynyk, but I'm not sure if I actually like Kelly Olynyk. I think that's where it gets into, you go get a Bogdanovich from Detroit. Are you the kind of team that says, I'll take Andre Drummond and DeMarcus? As Pompey pointed out last hour on Monday March, it's not as simple as saying, yes, I want to trade that guy. The teams know we want these guys. The teams are aware that these are the guys are pursuing. And, it's, when teams know that you're pursuing somebody, you have a need for a player or a position, they're more likely to try to price it. Danny HD says, Josh, what has Josh Harris, Morey ever done? The trade deadline is going nowhere. Harris and Morey, and Rose. Harris has been a horrible owner. Let's face it. Simmons, Bolt, Butler, Harden, all lined out. Here's the game. They didn't want Alex to attack Harris. They didn't want Alex to Daryl Morey. Simmons wanted out of Philly because this is a long time. Not for the next 10 seconds. I got twice. Simmons wanted out of Philly because there was a big difference in opinion. Butler wanted to be here. The Sixers didn't want him here. Harden wanted to go back to LA because he wanted to be a star. And Fultz, that's a 30 for 30 documentary.
It's Flyers Panthers tonight on 97.3 ESPN and the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app. Listen as Tim Saunders and Todd Fedor bring you all the exciting play-by-play action. Coverage begins at 7 p.m. It's Flyers hockey all season long on South Jersey's radio home for Philadelphia Flyers hockey, 97.3 ESPN and the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app.
97.3 ESPN has teamed up with Seize the Deal for incredible weekly offers from some fantastic local restaurants. Here's this week's big deal.
Get a $50 gift card to dine like a rock star at Gin Ricky's, the Roy Social Hall, and Wild Honey Barbecue for just $25. Hurry, chances are this deal will sell quickly. Let the fun be gin.
Get this great deal starting Friday at 9 a.m. at seizethedeal.com.
Seize the deal. Sneezing, coughing, stuffy nose, runny nose, postnasal drip, interrupted sleeping. I was groggy at the end of the day.
Allergies and sinus congestion were making Jana miserable. Then a friend recommended Navage. Navage provides immediate drug-free congestion relief, flushing your nasal passages with refreshing saline and sucking out mucus, germs, and other airborne irritants. Navage helps you breathe easier, sleep better, and feel your best right away.
Navage gave me instant relief. I didn't have to wait 30 minutes. I didn't have to wait an hour, 90 minutes. I didn't have to wait a minute. I ran the rinse and I felt better.
Stop suffering from congestion and start breathing and feeling your best again with Navage. Navage.
I've had people ask me how I find relief, and I tell them Navage immediately. This thing is amazing.
Navage is available at Navage.com or at Walmart, Walgreens, CVS, and Rite Aid.
Thanks for calling Discover. This is Anjali.
Hi, it's Jennifer Coolidge. I just got an alert for a strange charge on my card.
No problem. We make sure you're never held responsible for unauthorized purchases on your Discover card. Let's see. Did you purchase something from a t-shirt cannon store yesterday?
Absolutely not. No, I already have like 3.
$0 fraud liability guarantee. It pays to Discover. Learn more at discover.com/credit card. Limitations apply.
Can I get a weight reading on the cat in exam 3?
Zuri needs a new vet tech after their current one literally moved to a farm. But finding an ideal replacement takes some training.
This is like herding cats.
Indeed can help them hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Schedule virtual interviews and talk to candidates right from your employer dashboard. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Dog parents are loving Dr. Marty's Nature's Blend Premium Dog Food.
The way she acts and the way she moves, it's just so much better. And she's like a puppy again. It's unbelievable.
Dr. Marty's Nature's Blend is a freeze-dried raw food made with 0 artificial preservatives, so it's naturally shelf-stable with no mess, freezer, or fridge required. Plus, it's full of premium turkey, beef, salmon, and meat your dog will love.
We started with Nature's Blend. She's happy. She sleeps well. She's energetic. I am just delighted with this product.
When given the choice, Nature's Blend and Amazon's #1 bestseller in dry dog food, 29 out of 30 dogs chose Nature's Blend first.
I'm so confident your dog will love it. Your order is backed with a 90-day guarantee.
Save up to 54% off Nature's Blend and get a free bag of delicious beef liver treats. Go to drmartypets.com/deal or text DEAL to 511-511. Text DEAL to 511-511. All pets are unique. Your pet's results can and will vary. Message and data rates may apply. Studies available upon request.
Whatever happened to Tony Horton, the guy who created the revolutionary P90X?
2017, I was knocked down. A very rare type of shingles that went straight into my brain. My body was completely wasting away. I started researching everything related to building my muscle back again. That's when I learned about the potential of HMB plus vitamin D3 and what they can do when it comes to helping build new muscle.
So Tony developed high-impact protein by Power Life.
Just add 1 scoop of high-impact protein to a glass of water or your morning smoothie and enjoy the effects of that boss molecule and factory worker combination.
reshaping your body each and every day. More energy, burn more fat, and probably drop a few pounds along the way.
High Impact Protein by Power Life is a tasty once-a-day powder that comes in either whey or plant protein. Go to mypowerlife.com and use code MUSCLE to save 30%. Tony even offers a 90-day guarantee. Go to mypowerlife.com or text MUSCLE to 511-511. Text MUSCLE to 511-511 today. All individuals are unique. Your results can and will vary. These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Tax fees may apply.
Save thousands at Matt Blatt Kia. Get out of your old trade today, even if you owe thousands more than it's worth. Go to mattblattkianj.com for more details. That's mattblattkianj.com.
It's got to be a
Matt Blatt Kia,
home of the Philadelphia Eagles, Sixers, and Flyers. 97.3 ESPN, WENJ HD, Millville, Atlantic City, a Town Square media station serving all of What's that? With Mike Gill on 97.3 ESPN and 97.3 ESPN mobile app. Now live from the MetLife studio, here's Mike Gill.
Josh Eddie from Mike Gill on a Tuesday edition of the Sports Patch on 93 ESPN. Final hour of the show. Thank you for being on board today. We've got a lot of things we've gone over throughout the show. Eagles coaching staff, Super Bowl 15 breakdown, state of the Sixers, less than 48 hours to trade deadline, which is well indeed. News, all your guys text throughout the show on all those topics. Keep them coming, 609-403-0973. The DMs, into 973 ESPN mobile app, my first thanks, y'all. And in about 25 minutes from now, this is Insider from 973 ESPN. Austin Krell is going to coming up in the show. I wanted to follow up on something that Dan and EHT, and Dan and EHT, folks don't know, is a loyal but habitual texter to the show. And what he brought to the table was, and I'm not saying it's a bad question, it was a valid question. But he brought up the idea of, what on earth have Josh Harris and Daryl Morey done to make me think, or anyone think, the trade deadline is going to, land us in. And listen, I understand from a short-sighted point of view, from a fan's perspective, if you feel that way. But let's go through what the history is with this organization. Okay? Daryl Morey, when he first got here, got rid of the abomination that was the Al Horford contract. He unloaded Josh Richardson, who was practically useless for his team. And they got Danny Green. And they reshaped the roster, right? They brought in players who were going to retool this roster. Now, they had to use some of those pieces, like Steph Curry, Andre Drummond, for example, in order to then unload Ben Simmons to get James Harden. And frankly, if it's not for James Harden, you don't win two of those three games against the Celtics last year. So, what does that mean for Daryl Morey? Well, that means he has given you something. He has done something. Guys, every deal that he made in a win, absolutely not. You can make the argument that the Nets Sixers trade was a win for Brooklyn in the long run, not for Philadelphia. But we got to find out, what do the assets that you netted for James Harden, what are those going to turn into? That's what's going to decide everything long term. So now let's flip the coin. He mentioned Josh Harris. Danny HT was saying that, there's a huge difference between Josh Harris and Jeffrey Lurie. Well, there is a huge difference. Part of the difference is Jeffrey Lurie has now 30-year track record to work off of, and Josh Harris has a 10-year track record to work off of. Now, it wasn't until Jeffrey Lurie's 10th and 11th years as the Eagles owner that they even got to the promised land. That big game called the Super Bowl this coming Sunday. But before that, you could say, well, Jeffrey Lurie got you a team that had multiple conference championship appearances. Okay. Ever since Josh Harris became owner, this team had hit a hard. Well, first of all, the team tried to go big or go home. Remember, they were part of the Andrew Bynum trade. People forget the Sixers did try to go big. The Sixers went out and got, at the time, a guy who was believed to be the next star of the league. They got a guy who was 24, turning 25, who had won a couple championships with the Lakers, a guy who was averaging, at the time, 18 points a game, 11 rebounds a game, almost 2 blocks a game. They went out and got that guy. And then the injuries completely derailed him. So as soon as they went to the poker table, to use an Atlantic City idea, with that 4-team deal that sent all those players in 20 different directions, right? Andre Iguodala goes to the Nuggets. Sixers trade picks and assets and players all over the place. I mean, remember, the Sixers had Nikola Vucevic, but they got rid of him because of Bynum. I mean, for goodness sake, we're talking about guys like Aaron Aflalo and Al Harrington were involved in this deal. You know how the Sixers got Dario Saric? It was because of the Bynum Iguodala trade. Oh, and don't forget, a big reason why that trade happened was because Dwight Howard went to the Lakers. So Josh Harris, and again, this is not a defense of Josh Harris. This is a recounting of history. They went for big. It didn't work out. And then they walked out the other side with the question, well, what do we do now? It didn't work. So then what happens? Well, the next stage of what happens is they do the process. They hit the reset button. They get all the assets. They try to find the next star player. Nerlens Noel, Joel Embiid, Michael Carter Williams, thanks for a cup of coffee and a rookie of the year. Jahlil Okafor, Ben Simmons, Markelle Fultz. All those happened before Daryl Morey ever got here. And as I've said before, the Sam Hinkie process has an incomplete grade because the NBA interfered, got involved in something, and frankly made it more of a dumpster fire with Brian Colangelo. The Sixers should have never made the Fultz trade. It destroyed this team's ability to have flexibility moving forward. And then Colangelo tried to clean up his own mess. He got run out of town because of Burnergate. And then you ended up with Brett Brown kind of running the team, then Elton Brand trading for Jimmy Butler and Tobias Harris, and then Jimmy Butler wanting out of town, and then a couple of years later, Daryl Morey comes in. So the difference is that Laurie's gambles have been successful, Josh Harris's haven't. Look, when the Sixers drafted Ben Simmons, they drafted him with the idea that he was going to be someone asked me the question a couple days ago that was it fair to compare Ben Simmons coming out of college to LeBron James? And I always said it was the stupidest comparison because they're both completely different types of ball players. They're completely different types of people, completely different mindsets. And I don't say the 2020 vision. I was here back in 2016, 2017 on 97.3 ESPN. I remember those conversations. I remember even Mike Gill sitting here where I am right now, filling in for him as he's on his way to Vegas for Radio Row on 97.3 ESPN. I remember him asking the question, would the Sixers be better off with Brandon Ingram instead of Ben Simmons? And people made fun of us for having those conversations. People treated us like we were idiots for asking that question. Mike Gill and a lot of people love Markelle Fultz. Markelle Fultz was doomed from the beginning because the Sixers gave up a lot of assets to get him. And as soon as he got injured, he had the pressure of the world on his shoulders, and he was never going to rise from the ashes and become a better person, a better player again in Philadelphia. The environment and the culture was never going to happen. And Brian Colangelo is a huge part of the blame for that. Jimmy Butler wanted to be here. He wanted to play with Embiid. He wanted to be in Philadelphia. Philadelphia said, we are going to keep Brett Brown, and we're going to keep Ben Simmons, and we're going to send Jimmy Butler out of town. James Harden doesn't know what he wants from day to day, okay? James Harden is like that person who every time they walk past a store, every time they scroll through social media, they see something new that they want. And then they, instead of being appreciative for what they have, they obsess over what they don't have. So James Harden wanted out of Philly because Philly no longer was the shiny new toy he got for Christmas. Ben Simmons and Markelle Fultz were never going to work in Philadelphia because there was a pedestal these guys were put on that they were never, ever, ever going to live up to or play up to. Philadelphia is in the position we are in right now because of Joel Embiid's injuries. If it wasn't for Joel Embiid's injuries and what has been built around him when he has been injured and not injured, that has led to this. It's not Josh Harris. It's not Daryl Morey. It's the fact that Joel Embiid cannot stay healthy. Back to the text board at 609-403-0973. David in Violin chimes in. What's up, David? Says, sorry if you've already talked about this, but there's anywhere in the area that's good to watch the Super Bowl. I've been looking at the 97.3 ESPN app, and I haven't found anything. Last year, he said we did an all-you-can-eat at Chickies and Pete's, which we had a blast. My wife is a Niners fan, so I need to go somewhere good. Thanks, David and Violent. Well, David, I could sit here for about 2 hours and give you recommendations on places to go. It really depends on what you're looking for. If, I'm sure that, I could sit there and write an article for the website with about maybe 20 different places you can go watch the game at. But I don't know if half those places would even interest you because you just said Glassboro and Vineland. So that eliminates half of the places I could think of right there because it sounds like you want to stay in a certain area. My recommendation, David and Vineland, is if your wife's a Niners fan, if you insist on going out somewhere to watch the game, you either need to go to a general sports place, okay, like a gallery bar booking games at Ocean Casino Resort, or you need to go, somewhere that is not going to be a specific type. Like for example, there are some establishments down here that are very heavy Eagle fan centric, right? and the other places that are not. I think that what you're looking for is a place that's not going to be heavy centric. Personally, if I were you, David and Violin, unless your home TV is trash, I would just order in and have a house party at your house and watch the game at home. Personally, that's what I would do if I was in your situation and my wife was a Niners fan. But you know what I'll do, David? I will work on an article for 973ESPN.com, and I'll try to get it up before the end of the week. And I'm telling you, though, half the places are going to be in Cape May and Atlantic County. They're not going to be in Cumberland. They're not going to be Gloucester. They're not going to be Salem County, because at the end of the day, you're asking me a question and you're putting me in a position where you're asking me to endorse somebody on the radio, and they're not an advertiser. I'm not doing that. I'll tell you about the advertisers the great advertisers we have who do a great job. But, look, Mike Gill is at Chickies and Pete's for all of Eagle season. Okay? Every Thursday was either in Atlantic City or EHT. You can't go wrong with that. The Gallery Barbook games at Ocean Casino Resort, can't go wrong with that either. But I'm wondering if your all you can eat last year was in part because the Eagles were in the Super Bowl. Now the Eagles are not in the biggest game of the year. I'm sure some businesses are going to have some different options this year. So I will endeavor to write something for you, David and Violin, but yeah, I'm not going to be I'm not in a position to answer your question the way you want. Sorry. Best of luck to you and your wife. I think the Niners have a 50-50 shot to win the game. 609-403-0973. That was a that was a rabbit hole that I will never recover from. That was a bad job by me. No offense to you, David and Violin, but that was not the direction we were going with this hour at all. Someone texted in and it says, I understand that tanking happens, but Josh Harris and Sixers organization actually should have been punished for their stupidity. Well, you can't punish a billionaire for making a mistake. If we were to punish every sports owner for being dumb or ignorant or making mistakes, no one would want to be a sports owner anymore because we'd punish them all. Sports would have these teams selling like hotcakes because every owner wants to get out because they get punished because they made the wrong draft pick or they made the wrong series of off-season decisions. That's silliness. You can't do that. Josh and Kate May. This is great. You got a spot in North Carolina. I can watch the game. Yeah, you know it's a cool town in North Carolina, Shalute. You ever been to Shalute, North Carolina? It's about 30 minutes south of Wilmington. They got a massive golf course, one of the biggest Walmarts you'll ever see. Go check out Shalute, North Carolina. My aunt lives in Charlotte. You can go visit my family while you're in North Carolina when you watch the game. Oh my goodness, Josh and Kate May. Josh Hennick here on 97.3 ESPN. All right, coming up next, we'll try to get this train back on the tracks here. Austin Crowell, Sixers insider for 97.3 ESPN.com. He will join me coming up in about 6 minutes. Now, don't forget the Flyers are back in action tonight. You hear the game right here on 97.3 ESPN. Don't forget, with the Flyers back in action, it's time to level up your game day ritual with the ultimate power duo, the Flyers and the Union Forge Vodka. Cheer on the Flyers with the best tasting vodka produced right here in Philadelphia's area. grab a Union Forge bottle today. Vodka and Flyers. You might need a little extra vodka because this is going to be a rough extra couple of weeks here because we don't know what to say the Flyers are. We're going to find out if this is a playoff team or not very quickly. So you want to get your Union Forge vodka and be ready to celebrate the wins and drown out the losses with the Flyers back in action tonight at 7 p.m. here on 97.3 ESPN.
Wake up weekday mornings from 6 to 10 a.m. with Unsportsmanlike on 97.3 ESPN with Evan Cohen, Super Bowl champion Chris Canty, and Michelle Small. Can't wake up without it. Brought to you by the Gallery Bar Book and Games at Ocean Casino Resort in Atlantic City.
Go to get your game on at the Gallery Bar Booking Games in Ocean Casino Resort this football season. Cheers your favorite drinks while cheering on your favorite team. Get in on the parlay while in the middle of a party. Go for the sports scene and go for the endless screens. Go to the Gallery. Go to Ocean. Go for the win. For more information, visit theoceanac.com. Must be 21 or older to wager or consume alcohol. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Progressive presents an ad from Mom.
Hello, is it on? Oh, okay. Bundle your home and auto insurance with Progressive and get protection round the clock. Round the clock? Does this generation even understand what round the clock means? But I'm just saying, because don't come to me when they ask to do this over because the kids won't get it.
Get round-the-clock protection when you bundle and save with Progressive. It's easier than getting your mom to make this radio ad. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Not available in all states or situations.
This year, Dell Technologies wants to help you do amazing things with their best tech. For a limited time only, save on select next-gen PCs like the XPS 13 Plus, powered by Intel Core processors, and more. Plus, curate your dream setup with great deals on select monitors, mice, and more must-have electronics and accessories. When you shop online at Dell.com/deals, you'll have access to leading-edge technology to match your forward-thinking spirit and free shipping on everything. Again, that's Dell.com/deals.
If you only have a 401k, you're not getting the most for retirement.
Wait, what?
Add a Robinhood IRA on top, then they'll boost it by 3%.
You can do that?
And if you transfer in any retirement account, you get 3% on top of that.
Is there a limit to the match?
No limit. Robinhood Gold gets you the biggest contribution match of any IRA on the market. Sign up for Robinhood Gold at Robinhood.com/boost by April 30th. Subscription fees apply.
Investing involves risk. 3% match requires gold for 1 year from first match. Must keep IRA for 5 years. Match on transfers subject to additional terms and conditions. Robinhood Financial LLC, member SIPC.
They are an elite division in charge of Jersey's most precious cargo. Okay, team, let's move. The New Jersey Lottery Scratch-Offs Division presents new Precious Metals Scratch-Offs.
Jerry, this movie trailer music is giving me goosebumps.
I know, right? Bronze, silver, gold, and platinum scratch-offs with top prizes up to $1 million.
Now playing at lottery retailers near you.
Go, go, go. Must be 18 or older to buy a lottery ticket. Please play responsibly. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Rated PT for play today.
For the ones who get it done, the most important part is the one you need now. And the best partner is the one who can deliver. That's why millions of maintenance and repair pros trust Grainger, because we have professional-grade supplies for every industry, even hard-to-find products. And we have same-day pickup and next-day delivery on most orders. But most importantly, we have an unwavering commitment to help keep you up and running. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Taco Bell just dropped the new Cravings Value Menu. Now you can get 10 items for $3 or less, which means you can get the food you want for the price you want. It's almost like you can have your cake and eat it too. But in this case, it's a double-stacked taco from the new Cravings Value Menu. So basically, you can have your double-stacked taco and eat it too, which is a lot crunchier than cake. The new Cravings Value Menu is here. Get it at Taco Bell today. At participating U.S. Taco Bell locations while supplies last. Contact store for price and participation which vary. Tax extra.
Powered by the all-new BetParks New Jersey Casino and Sportsbook app. BetParks.com. This is the Town Square, New Jersey Info and Weather Network.
The Eagles open next season in Brazil. This is Danny Ryan with your South Jersey Sports Center. NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell announced big news during his press conference last night that your Philadelphia Eagles will be playing in Sao Paulo, Brazil in Week 1 as the home team on Friday night of the NFL's opening weekend. In Flyers news, the Orange and Black return to action tonight after 9 days off in a road battle with the Florida Panthers. Listen live right here on 97.3 ESPN. Coverage starts at 7. In Sixers news, Joel Embiid successfully successfully underwent the procedure on his left lateral meniscus this morning and will be reevaluated by the team in just 4 weeks. The Sixers look to get back on track tomorrow night against the Golden State Warriors after losing 6 of their past 7 games. Listen to the game live right here on 97.3 ESPN. Coverage starts tomorrow night at 7:30. For more Eagles, Sixers, Phillies, and Flyers, download our free mobile app. Your forecast is next.
Here is an important safety message from the New Jersey Division of Highway Traffic Safety.
I'm New Jersey Attorney General Matt Plackett. Every year, too many lives are lost in alcohol or drug-related crashes. These are preventable tragedies, and it's time to take a stand. Let's make New Jersey's roads safer for everyone. We are all counting on you.
From the Town Square, New Jersey Info and Weather Network, I'm Chief Meteorologist Dan Zarrow. Tomorrow will be about 5 degrees warmer than today. Some clouds may kiss the coast tonight into tomorrow. We'll see a low temperature overnight around 30. Tomorrow's high 45. We'll call it mostly sunny with a slight chance of a flurry. Warming up even more on Thursday to 50 with partly sunny skies. A mix of clouds and sun on Friday with a chance of a sprinkle in there too. High Friday 54. Get weather 24/7 wherever you are. Download our free mobile app today.
97.3 ESPN has teamed up with Seize the Deal for incredible weekly offers from some fantastic local restaurants. Here's this week's big deal.
Get a $50 gift card to dine like a rock star at Gin Ricky's, the Roy Social Hall, and Wild Honey Barbecue for just $25. Hurry, chances are this deal will sell quickly. Let the fun be gin.
Get this great deal starting Friday at 9 a.m. at seizethedeal.com.
You're listening to The Sports Bash with Mike Gill on 97.3 ESPN and the free mobile app.
There is nothing funnier at this job than seeing people all react to what somebody else said on the text 609-403-09. We'll get to Austin Crowell, Sixers Inside in just a moment. But first of all, and this is not we're making fun of David and Violent, okay? But David and Violent was asking for a place to go to watch the Super Bowl. And now the entire text board has turned into everyone asking just bizarro world questions. So Josh Gabe asked where he can watch Super Bowl in North Carolina. And Josh Gabe followed up saying, I've already had 3 people asking me why I'm going to North Carolina this weekend. We have Luke in Atlantic City who texted in and asked me, is there a great Airbnb in Sao Paulo, Brazil for the Eagles game in September? Any suggestions? To which I told Luke that I need to ask Dominic Toretto for some recommendations for where to go in Brazil. Okay. And even so, yeah, that's just 2 examples. So I love it when you guys get in on the joke. I love it. Listen, if we can't make fun of ourselves, then what are we doing, right? If we can't make fun of ourselves in a job like this, then what's the point? Austin Crowell, Sixers insider from 97.3 ESPN.com, as promised, is joining me here on 97.3 ESPN. Austin, welcome in. I do not have any questions for recommendations for places to go. How you doing today?
Doing well, Josh. How are you?
I'm doing well. So let's get down to the nitty gritty. You and I just talked last night on game night. So I wanted to bring you back because now we have more information than we did last night about Joel Embiid. So for you, when you saw that Joel Embiid had surgery and they're going to reevaluate in 4 weeks, what does that say to you?
It says, quite frankly, not all that much. They're just saying he's going to be reevaluated in 4 weeks. Like the thing about this is, the information out there was, this was either, this was going to be a surgery where the likelihood of it being a stitch repair was very, very slim, and that it was likely going to have to be the scope, which meant that it was going to be a shorter time frame. And then the other information out there was that it was that this scope was the right way per se of doing this. So I'm not like surprised that they're saying it's a 4-week update window, but that just means that they're going to provide an update on how he's looking and for how he's looking and feeling and progressing 4 weeks from now. It doesn't mean he's going to be back on the court ready to go. So I think they're still a ways away from really knowing more, and they're not out of the woods yet with what with this injury and this season. It just means that Joel's surgery appears to have gone well, and that they will know more in 4 weeks or so.
I'm glad you said that, because I said earlier in the show, Austin, that he can get reevaluated 4 weeks, and he could be another 2 weeks away from playing or 4 weeks away from playing. So it's like, it doesn't mean he's returning soon. It just means he's returning ... TBD. So, with that in mind, my concern, Austin, is we saw the Sixers lose again last night. And to me, it's obvious between Saturday and last night, they just don't have the firepower. I don't know how this team is going to stay above water in the coming weeks when they got the Knicks multiple times, the Cavs multiple times, Boston, Milwaukee. It's not like they got a schedule full of like the Wizards. They play the Wizards once coming up. So it's like, how is this team going to stay above water? Like, does it all come down to the trade deadline?
So I think part of it is like, you got to get Melton back. You got to get Batum back. Those guys are not all world, talents at this stage. They're not the top end talent on the team, but they make things easier for your defense, and they make they're the connective tissue on offense that makes everything a little bit easier, whether it be shooting, whether it be making passes. They both help in that regard. So getting that back is going to help a lot. I think if you can get those guys back for a month straight, 6 weeks straight, this team is going to suddenly start to look a lot better, and they're going to win games again. Just right now, it's like you're asking the 10th, 11th, 12th guys on your bench to contribute to winning on a nightly basis, and they just can't do that. You can get a lot of value out of your depth, right? But if your depth doesn't have the talent to mesh and create something that's bigger than the sum of its parts, then it doesn't really matter, that you're just going to sink. At least if they get their guys who are, healthy and relatively speaking, like those Batum, like Melton, they can at least cobble together enough of skill and enough defensive versatility to where they can get some stops and manufacture some offense. I do think that there are role players out there that could help them at the trade deadline. I think right now, the biggest thing that you need to really try to do as a team is how do they ease the pressure on Tyrese Maxey and make his life a little bit easier? They're gonna do the things that Dallas did a lot last night and Brooklyn did on Saturday. They're gonna blitz and blitz and blitz the ball some more and try to force it out of Maxey's hands and into somebody else's hands. And the way that you counter that is say, okay, how do we get a functional screener, someone who can catch the ball and we can trust every play to make a three or to make the right pass out of that screen? Does Kelly Olynyk help open the driving lanes up a little bit for Maxey so that way they can't just so easily blitz without punishment? Is there a dynamic enough passer out of the role out there who, if we definitely or if he makes that pass to that guy, suddenly we're in a disadvantage where we have three guys in the middle of the floor and a good passing big man there with four guys open around him. So you got to help alleviate some of that pressure by adding a dynamic role player to this team somehow. And that's what I think they have to aim to do in the coming days.
So with all that being said, does a dynamic playmaker, does a big man to help the front court, do all these pieces that they could get in less than, now we're 36 hours away from the deadline, right? So it's like, are all of these pieces tangible guys they can get, or is a lot of this just kind of well, it would be nice? And the reason I ask, Austin, is because, I got people texting in, Sixers should trade for Klay Thompson, and it's like, they're not trading for Klay Thompson. Like, I don't see that happening.
You
know
also
what I mean? Like,
it would be a very bad usage of your assets to get Klay Thompson.
Right.
He looks
Right, exactly.
ineffective at this stage of his career.
Like, I another guy texted in, go get Mikal Bridges. Like, I don't see the Nets trading Mikal Bridges. Like, they're gonna build around that guy, aren't they? So like give the audience tangible people here, because we can sit here and say what they need, but who of what they need exists out there?
I think like foundationally, you just want a guy who can do a lot of the little things well, like a guy that can, I guess, as stupid as this is going to sound, like you need somebody who is going to take and make shots, like no duds basketball. You need a guy who's going to see passes and make passes in tight spaces. And those are like little skills that, they add up. When it's a guy who has all of them together as a star player, but guys who can do a little bit of that stuff, so like, just can like an Andre Drummond, not the most dynamic offensive player, but guess what he can do? He can dunk, he can catch lobs, and he can make passes. And that means that you're going to have cutters moving around the floor. So someone who can unlock that element of your offense is going to help. And I think also, like, we say that there are guys around the league who have those skills, but don't get to demonstrate or unlock them on their current teams because of, for whatever reason. Like Andre Drummond is not, like, that Bulls team is not very good.
Right.
Their offense hasn't been that great for a couple of years now. So of course it makes sense that, like, some guys' skills are going to not shine in the light, but like Andre Drummond can do some things for you if you were to pursue that guy. Olynyk is not the sexiest name out there, but guess what? He can really shoot the ball well, and he's just a heady player. He does a couple of different things. Like if you can go out there and find a couple of guys like Nick Batum, you're going to find a way to make this thing work while Joel's out.
When you think about, you mentioned Drummond in Chicago, Austin Krell, our Sixers insider from 97.3 ESPN.com, at NBA Krell on the Twitter X platform, joining me here on the Sports Bash. Josh Hennig filling from Mike Gill on 97.3 ESPN. You mentioned Andre Drummond. Would it make sense to do one-stop shopping in Chicago and maybe try to walk out of there with, let's say, Drummond and DeMar DeRozan, for example?
If you're going to go for DeRozan, I think I think it depends on like what Chicago is asking for in terms of picks, because like Chicago, by all accounts, has demonstrated a desire to remain competitive and not just tear down. So, now that could be a slippery slope for me to say that now. They might have a meeting tonight, tomorrow, whenever, and say like realistically, what are we for the next couple of years? And is that worth shelling out, money to DeRozan and paying him to be the top dog on a team that's going to win 35 games? Like they might come to their senses, in the next couple of days and be a seller. But if they're not, if they're still standing strong in their position that like we want to be competitive, they're gonna ask for real value, or they're gonna ask for intangible values in the form of draft picks, and then it becomes a battle of like, how much do we really value DeRozan? Do we want to sacrifice first round picks for a rental? If we do give up picks, what kind of leverage would he have over us in trade talks? And that becomes, do we want him back, in the future, or is this going to be just, the rest of the season? So I don't think it's as simple as like plug talent in and see it work. I think it's like, for the purposes of team building, what is the future here with this guy, and does that cost make it worth it? I think like a guy like Alex Caruso, who Chicago is said to value greatly, is a much better fit for any team, because he's willing. He's a more willing role-playing shooter. He takes some more efficient shots than DeRozan does, and he's just a defensive hound. Like he's going to get up in your face and just dog you all night and be effective that way. So I think like DeRozan is a name that's popular, but it's kind of like the reverse Ewing theory, right? Where it's like Patrick Ewing gets traded by the Knicks, and the Knicks fans are all upset because the star player is going out the door, and that means and inherently they're going to undervalue the return on that Patrick Ewing trade because Patrick Ewing's gone. Like the star player is leaving, right? So I think this is the reverse of that, where you suddenly think, okay, all's good again because you have DeMar DeRozan here. The star player's coming in the door. That's not always how it works. And so I would be cautious of DeRozan for sure.
I love how you said about how do some of these picks work with these guys, because I mentioned this earlier in the show, and it's been a complaint of mine for years, Austin, and I think it's fair to say that you're a little younger than me, so I'm not criticizing your age for this, but you're from the NBA 2K generation, right? I'm from the NBA Live generation, right? Late 90s video games, but the concept is the same. No matter what era you're from, we all grew up making trades on the video games and rebuilding teams and setting the AI to the most hard difficulty possible to make a deal. So it's like we have an entire 20 plus years of people who all grew up saying, well, I can make the trade on NBA 2K for NBA Live, or I can run the trade machine. So it works. But you're so right, because just because you can acquire someone doesn't mean that player is going to work. Like the Lakers last year were incredibly lucky that every guy that they hit on made an impact on that team down the stretch. Like it doesn't always work like that. And it's like people don't always understand that. Yeah. You've mentioned to me in the past about the Bogdanoviches, right? The one in Atlanta and one in Detroit. There's no guarantee that either of those guys are going to come to Philadelphia and make the impact you expect. You could go out and get Lauri Markkanen, and there's no guarantee he's going to get along with Maxey. I'm not saying Lauri Markkanen is a bad guy, but I mean, there's no guarantees with this stuff. So it's not as simple as plug and play. Because in basketball, if you guys don't get along, you are DOA in the postseason.
Well, I think Markkanen's a different story because his best skills are predicated on fit. Like he fits in basically anywhere you put him because he's a very good catch and shoot player at the 4 position.
But his personality might be,
Yeah. Well, I don't know anything about his personality. That's fair.
Right.
But like the whole similar story is like the Tobias Harris trade that the Sixers made, and I'm a very big, I'm high on Tobias as a player. I think he's very good. But you gave up a lot of stuff to get him. Your first round pick in Landry Shamet, who maybe he was second round pick in Landry Shamet, whatever. As a budding rookie, and then you give up an unprotected pick via Miami to get Tobias, and then because you gave up a lot to get him, you kind of felt like you had some equity in keeping him. Like you had some obligation to pay him so that way he stayed here long term. And then the next 4.5-5 years were spent lamenting the fact that you gave him that amount of money. So, it's a precautionary tale, just saying I'm going to swing for the fences and bring in any, a high level player and just thinking that it's just going to work.
By the way, Landry Shamet was a first round pick. You should have second guessed yourself. Okay.
I can only be such an expert,
By the way, before I let you go, I got to ask, how do you feel about the draft moving to 2 days?
I like that better, honestly. I think it makes for better draft prep, and I think it's easier to cover that way. Like I'll give you a story. When the Sixers, it was the year that they traded for Harden, and it was there was draft night. They traded for DeAnthony Melton, and that was back when it was still both rounds on one night. We weren't walking out of the building until like 12:30 at night, and then Daryl didn't speak till like 1:30 in the morning. And then then because the trade wasn't finalized, he couldn't actually speak about the player to be mentioned later in DeAnthony Melton. So it was all like, yeah, we can't really say much yet, but I'm here to speak. And that isn't like me knocking the organization or knocking Daryl. That's just me explaining like why he couldn't say much. So it was like, you're there till 2 a.m. for basically nothing. And then and then we ended up not even being able to actually speak about DeAnthony to the team until like training camp or until media day that year. So it was like you're out till all hours of the night at the Camden complex for basically nothing. So, I do like it for everybody that the draft is 2 nights. I think it's going to help teams sort of evaluate their second round picks more, and maybe we'll see a premium on second round picks in the future in terms of just how they're valued. But it's going to be interesting for sure.
The part I think is interesting is the fact that you're going to have night 1 of the draft in one location and night 2 in a different location. Basically the league is saying the first round is going to be this whole glitz and glare, but round 2 is just going to be at the Secaucus Studios at ESPN. It's like, wow, like talk about like a huge change of venue. It'll you know what it's going to look like? It's going to look like, remember when they had the draft during COVID and it was like, like people were like in like their basements and stuff, like, chiming in from my basement, here's analysis from Jay Billis.
Yeah. And oh, by the way, that was the draft that saved the Sixers franchise because they got Tyrese that draft, and he might not have fallen as far as he did. So that ended up being it ended up being the one that might have saved the whole thing. But I mean, it's funny either way. Like, it's a kind of a slap in the face, the second round picks, because like if you remember during the draft when end of first round, it's Mark Tatum coming up. So it's like, okay, you get the deputy commissioner, not the actual like head commissioner. And then this time it's like, well, you don't get to be at the big stage. You get to be at like the smaller stage.
Well, it's just more of a chip on their shoulder. I mean, Draymond Green, Nikola Jokic, just 2 examples of, great players drafted in the second round. Maybe it's an opportunity to put more of a spotlight in the second round, instead of it being at 11 o'clock at night when no one's paying attention. Maybe these guys get mentioned at 8 o'clock at night instead.
Yeah. I think that in general, the second round should be valued more because you can find a lot of good value in the second. I think like some of the best teams in the league in recent years have found so much of their depth in the second round or in undrafted free agency. So I think the more that you can place value on that, the better it is for every team.
All right, Austin Krell, Sixers Insider for 97.3 ESPN.com, at NBA Krell on the Twitter X platform. He joined us here on the Sports Bash. Josh Hennig filling in for Mike Gill on 97.3 ESPN. Austin, great stuff today. Go get some rest for the next Sixers thing blows off, and you have to lose your mind, okay?
I will. Thanks, Josh.
Josh Hennig here filling in for Mike Gill, wrapping up the show. Coming up the other side, 609-403-0973. That's text board your DMs into 973 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Seattle. By the way, Jack in Cape May Courthouse says, I was one of the people who texted Josh from Cape May why he was going to North Carolina for the weekend. It's the gift that keeps on giving. You guys are some of the best people. You guys who listen to this station. I appreciate all of you who listen to 97.3 ESPN.
It's Flyers Panthers tonight on 97.3 ESPN and the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app. Listen as Tim Saunders and Todd Fedor bring you all the exciting play-by-play action. Coverage begins at 7 p.m. It's Flyers hockey all season long on South Jersey's radio home for Philadelphia Flyers hockey, 97.3 ESPN and the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app.
Something good to know from First Bank of Sea Isle City. We have all of today's innovative banking products just like the big banks, but we offer something they can't. A personal community focus. Let's get you started with Bill Pay. You save time when you pay your bills online. It's fast, easy, and convenient. First Bank of Sea Isle City, a community bank that delivers more for you every day. Personal service, today's technology, from the people who truly care. Learn more at firstbankseaisle.com.
Member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate through the site within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free. Just go to this exclusive web address, ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
At Target, our aisles tell stories of everyday Black joy. The same joy that can be found in our new Black History Month collection. Like feeling empowered with the teas and mugs from legendary Roots. Or seeing the beauty of Black culture through the art of Winnie Weston. Bring more Black joy to your day with an affordable collection that embraces it. Available now at Target.com/Black Beyond Measure.
Stop the countdown. Don't let the new year pass you by without upgrading your ride. So bring any trade, no matter the make, mileage, or condition. We'll take it, even if you owe thousands more than it's worth, and put you into a new matte black Kia with low, 0 down payments, 0.9% financing, and 0 down payments until April. And only matte black Kia has a 4-day love it or leave it return policy. We know bad things happen to good people. We want to approve you. We finance your future, not your past. Even if you're currently stuck in a loan or lease, we want to get you released and into your new matte black Kia with 0 down, 0 payments until April. On every new Kia in stock.
It's gotta be a matte black Kia.
With approved credit, not all qualified credit may affect down payments. Offers can be combined. Go to matteblackkia.nj.com for complete details. 888-505-6672. Price includes all costs to be paid by consumer, except for licensing, registration, and taxes through KMF. At $21.22 per thousand for 48 months. Rebates and incentives to dealer. Matte Black Kia, 6211 Black Horse Pike, Harper Township. On Route 37 in Toms River.
This year, Dell Technologies wants to help you do amazing things with their best tech. For a limited time only, save on select next-gen PCs like the XPS 13 Plus, powered by Intel Core processors, and more. Plus, curate your dream setup with great deals on select monitors, mice, and more must-have electronics and accessories. When you shop online at Dell.com/deals, you'll have access to leading-edge technology to match your forward-thinking spirit and free shipping on everything. Again, that's Dell.com/deals.
COVID-19? I don't want to risk missing work. I booked an appointment for this season's updated COVID-19 shot designed to help protect against recent variants. Learn about a vaccine option and book your COVID-19 shot on schedulecovidvax.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
If you only have a 401k, you're not getting the most for retirement.
Wait, what?
Add a Robinhood IRA on top, then they'll boost it by 3%.
You can do that?
And if you transfer in any retirement account, you get 3% on top of that.
Is there a limit to the match?
No limit. Robinhood Gold gets you the biggest contribution match of any IRA on the market. Sign up for Robinhood Gold at Robinhood.com/boost by April 30th. Subscription fees apply.
Investing involves risk. 3% match requires gold for 1 year from first match. Must keep IRA for 5 years. Match on transfers subject to additional terms and conditions. Robinhood Financial LLC, member SIPC.
It's the Sports Bash with Mike Gill.
Do I have everybody's attention now?
On 97.3 ESPN and the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app.
Up the show here on 97.3 ESPN. Josh Heddick hanging out with you. Jeff from Ocean City chimes in and says, what are the Flyers' chances to win tonight? Does Edmonton hit 7 straight wins in Vegas? Well, Jeff, I'm glad you asked because the Flyers are back. And, of course, our Flyers coverage here on 97.3 is being brought to you by Union Forge Vodka. Hey, Flyer fans, time to level up your game day ritual with the ultimate power duo, the Flyers and Union Forge Vodka. Join the Flyers with the best tasting vodka produced right here in the Philadelphia area. Grab a Union Forge bottle today, Jeff in Ocean City. Owen Tippett is back. He is back in the lineup tonight for the Flyers. So, some good news right there for the Fly guys. I think if Owen Tippett plays, they have a chance to win. They need that firepower in a game like tonight against the Panthers. By the way, a little of the Flyers news came out earlier today. The Flyers are one of 3 teams that will be receiving cap relief because of the players who have been criminally charged in the connection to the 2018 World Junior sex assault scandal. So, according to Darren Drager of TSN, he is reporting that the Flyers, the Devils, and the Flames have all been informed they will be receiving cap relief. Why is that interesting news for the Flyers? Because that means they have more salary cap flexibility to make a trade before the deadline. NHL deadline's about a month away, but it's something to keep an eye on. I think the Flyers can win against the Panthers. I don't know the numbers off the top of my head, but here's the problem with the Oilers in Vegas. Vegas is one of the best home teams in all the NHL. So if you're one of the best home teams in the NHL and the Oilers come to town, the Oilers just have to get cold for like a quarter and they lose the game. I'm not touching the Oilers Vegas game with a 10-foot pole. Flyers winning tonight? I can see that happen. All right, thanks to a busy day today, Austin Krell, Jeff Mosher, Keith Pompey, Paul Gunther, John McMullen. Thank you all for texting the show. I'm Josh Hennig. Mike Gill will be back tomorrow live from Las Vegas here on 97.3 ESPN.
It's Sixers Warriors tomorrow night on 97.3 ESPN with the voice of the Sixers, Tom McGinnis, calling all the exciting play-by-play action.
Maxey well beyond the arc for three. It's good. He ties it. Maxey with another three.
Coverage begins at 7:30. It's Sixers basketball all season long on South Jersey's radio home for Philadelphia 76ers basketball.
Here's Furco with a breakout. Oh, yeah, reverse jam. Court loss, twist, turns, dumps it.
97.3 ESPN.